employment, improving access to tertiary education, and making loans accessible to students were discussed. Flag bearer and leader of the party, former President John Dramani Mahama, was the special guest for the auspicious ceremony. The party's national executive members, members of the Council of Elders, members of Parliament, parliamentary candidates, and an array of distinguished guests from the diplomatic corps, clergy, Nananom, civil society organizations, academia, labor organizations, and creative arts were also in attendance. Delivering an address at the gathering, the flag bearer and leader of the party, John Dramani Mahama, intimated that Ghana's bleeding soul was calling for true and patriotic citizens to reset it.
Today we also gather to reignite and reaffirm the dreams of our forebears, led by Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the founder of our great nation, a nation with one destiny, a destiny that cannot afford to endure one additional day beyond January 7, 2025, of the maladministration, the mismanagement, and state capture this nation has been subjected to over the last almost 8 years. For the sake of God's children and in the name of God, the people of Ghana will wake up from this nightmare and envision a bright new dawn of opportunities for all its people and not just a few. My brothers and sisters, our dear nation Ghana is bleeding. Ghana's soul is calling for change. Mother Ghana is crying for its true and genuine patriotic citizens to rise up to reset our beloved nation. Ghanaians can take no more of the hardship, the impunity, the state capture, the hypocrisy, the lies and bad governance that has been inflicted on them over the 2 terms of this outgoing administration. We cannot fail Mother Ghana, and therefore I urge you all to vote for change on December 7th, 2024.
Meanwhile, the party's running mate, Professor Jenano Opoku-Agyeman, maintained that the NDC remains committed to providing sustainable jobs for the youth and children by ensuring access to quality education with a special emphasis on vocational and technical training. According to her, a women's development bank will be established to empower female entrepreneurs and small business owners by providing low-interest loans, financial education, and sustainable support. She further emphasized that the next NDC government will create job opportunities, reduce financial barriers, and boost the businesses of female entrepreneurs.
Now let me highlight our women. We recognize the role of women, and Shamima, thanks for emphasizing all of it. It's very, very important, and we agree with you. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you also know in this country where we stand as women. And so we made a bold step to ensure that girls can also go to school, stay in school, move up as high as they can, and realize the potential in them. And of course, our bodies didn't just start functioning that way. It's just been who we are. We also know our economic challenges more than others. And what are some of them? For all kinds of reasons, we are not able to stay in school, and that is something we are going to work on aggressively, to remove all the bottlenecks, to remove all the obstacles that prevent girls from moving up. But meanwhile, a lot of us are up there already, and we may have missed a few things. So what happens? It is not by accident again that in this country, many, many women are in the small-scale businesses. Ebotum diskani bi ezashe wazu tonim. Obodu baby na wo capital no retraw ana na business no orinyin na wo fa so no na so margin. Na ndo de eke da wo fa ne papa no ho na so ko ama on haircut. Nti onyaze ebotum yakoko hopi. It's a Women's Development Bank in Orba. It is here to empower female entrepreneurs and small business owners by providing low-interest loans, financial education, and sustainable support. These initiatives will create job opportunities and break down the financial barriers that many women face when starting and sustaining business.
Since its creation on June 10, 1992, the country's largest opposition party is preparing feverishly to recapture power from the ruling New Patriotic Party, having lost 2 successive elections in 2016 and 2020.
A robust code of conduct and standards for all government officials in line with the principles of ethical leadership, modesty, humility, integrity, and accountability. We will nominate all our cabinet ministers for parliamentary approval within the first 14 days in office. We will constitute the leanest and most efficient government in the history of the Fourth Republic in the first 90 days in office. We will hold a national economic dialogue to discuss the true state of the economy and prepare a homegrown fiscal consolidation program to guide the budget. We will commence the drafting of needed legal amendments and preparation for the implementation of the 24-hour economy policy under the office of the President. We will convene a national consultative conference on education with CHAS, NAGRAT, NAT, CCT, NAPS, CETAG, Vice Chancellors Ghana, PRINCOF, TEWU, UTAG, PTAs, students, think tanks, academia, parents, and other stakeholders to build consensus on the improvement of our education sector, including the free SHS. We'll scrap the following draconian taxes to alleviate hardship and ease the high cost of doing business in our first 90 days in office. 1. E-levy. 2. COVID levy. 3. Betting tax. 4. Emissions levy. And we'll review taxes and levies on vehicles and equipment imported into the country for industrial and agricultural purposes. We'll introduce the no academic fee stress policy for all first-year students in public tertiary educational institutions, in universities, in technical universities, in polytechnics, colleges of education, nursing training institutions under our no fee stress initiative. We will commence investigative processes to purge state security agencies of all militia and vigilante elements who are causing havoc in our country. We will reopen investigations into major unresolved criminal cases, including the 2020 election killings, Ayawaso West Wagomba election violence, murder of Ahmed Swale and Silas Wulo Chame. Initiate a probe into the man-made disaster caused by the VRA spillage from the Akosombo and Kon dams that displaced and destroyed the livelihoods of thousands of citizens in the Volta region. We're going to prioritize, strictly prioritize, and select the most important projects that will create immediate benefits for the people of Ghana. I want to assure you that if people decide to serve in public office, they must accept to be accountable to the people of Ghana. And so if we elect you to go and serve us in a public office, after you finish service, you must be ready to account for everything that you did in office. I finished as president. I stayed here in this country, and I announced that I am prepared to be accountable to the people. I should be investigated for anything that I have done while in office, and I stayed here and I have been accountable to the people. I hope that those who are going out of office, the MPP government, when they go out, they should stay in the country. Nobody should run away. They should stay in the country and account to the people of Ghana. And as I've said, if you agree to serve in the government of JM come 2025, you must agree to be accountable to the people. If you do anything that this government has done, the same mistakes they did, we will hold you to accountable. I want to thank you for the support you have always given us. And that is why anytime NDC is in power, we make sure that Ada gets its fair share of the national cake. Ada has a lot of potential for tourism. We must develop the tourism so that more people can come here. We must do the road, dual carriage from Accra so that it's easy to come to Ada and come and enjoy the beautiful Volta estuary. And by the grace of God, God will give us the strength to do it. NDC will win the election on 7th December 2024. Obia pese osi factory no akotema. Obia pese osi factory no akotema. NDC ba ye besiesie ha. Obi opese osi factory bia omra sa kwan so da ombesi factory no so ho. If we say abrofoka say won fa okosu anyina emfa nto kente bakum. E wo say bi ko ha na e bi ko ha. Se na ya BBC wo ha still ye wo enjuma e koso wo ha. It's yebe designating a free amasaman aircore suhum a industrial zone. Obi open factory bia, open si factory bia, ombesi waha. No mina ombesi sa factory na yebe more register as 24-hour economy policy. Ombe register. It's register and 2 mutria ma by yabete so. Send a bay on betimi and this cano, I factory nick a sear, no mafa, mabunu no so account. You may see a police station or Hania fa, a babuni be a police war, now a chase armed robbers beyond Behau Bia, our industrial zone. Recently, the Electoral Commission opened the register for people to go and look at, inspect their names. I'm sorry to say there's a lot wrong with that register. The EC has to sit up so that we don't have any confusion on election day.
Good morning and thank you very much for choosing the Mother World Talk Shows Alhaji and Alhaji. Of course, we are live from the studios for Surgical Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Pan-African Television. Thank you very much for choosing us. Of course, we are also like radio live on Pan-African Television. Look for the pages Pan-African Television. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. My mic was off all this while. Sorry, sincerely apologize. But once again, welcome to the Alhaji for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studios of Pan-African Television, where every Saturday we'll bring you the mother of all talk shows. Yeah, we say it as it is, no matter who is involved. In the end, we'll leave you better educated. We're live on Pan-African Television. We are live on the social media platforms of Pan-African Television, specifically two, on Facebook and on YouTube. Just look for Pan-African Television. You get to watch us live. Remember, I always entreat you to share a comment or two when you're watching on either platforms. Also, you can use our text or WhatsApp number 0559 919 802 and send us a text message or WhatsApp message. We are live on Radio Gold and many other affiliate stations across the country. Well, this morning, first of all, I am Sena Nombo. This morning, we're having a conversation on two major happenings in this country. Now, the first one was a manifesto launch that happened exactly a week ago. Saturday, like this, the NDC was in Winneba. They launched their manifesto. Of course, a lot of what is in there has been the subject of public discussion. They've provided what they call an action plan, a roadmap for reset in Ghana. We'll discuss that. And then we'll move on to what happened the day after. That is Vice President Dr. Bawumia, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party's first media encounter with the media. He's quite popular, but has never faced off in the media in such a manner before. The impressions of our panelists and your impressions, those of you at home, will be important to this discussion. So do share your thoughts on it. There are other two issues that are very germane. One involves the government's plan to spend 8 billion cedis to ameliorate the plight of farmers who have suffered from the dry spell in the north. The other one involves the expenditures that were made on the All African Games. We are now finding out a breakdown. Parliament says, in fact, I think chairman of the sports committee in Parliament says he's asked for an official breakdown of the expenditure. He's not gotten it, but through his sources, he's gotten some information, and the expenditures are shocking. $4.5 million on accreditation. Now, then the journalists were like, which accreditation? Then they started pulling out their pieces of paper that were issued to them. We were all wondering, how many pieces of those papers did they print to spend $4.5 million? Then it came to feeding. $15 million. How much did you spend on feeding one day throughout the tournament? And the other expenditures have all been shocking. But we still do not have an official breakdown. The ministry has not denied anything. They've not denied any of the expenditures that have been put out. Forum for Accountable Governance has petitioned the Office of Special Prosecutor, asking the office to look into that expenditure that was made on the All African Games. One of the people who has been raising these issues, even when we never introduced it, was Kojo Chombuafo. We never introduced the issue, but every time he keeps reminding us of some of the expenditures that were made and the fact that we only won arm wrestling medals. So he will be here on the panel today to discuss this issue among many others. And of course, sitting to my right this morning, Solomon Owusu is a member of the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change. He's joining us. It's always wonderful to see Solo in the morning. And sitting right by him today, he's not been on the show for many months. Kwame Owusu-Danso is, are you convener?
Well, I'll say president.
The president he's the president.
For Forum for Accountable Governance. So it is his group that he leads that have put this petition forward. We'll also be joined in studio for the first time on the platform by Shamima Muslim. Shamima Muslim speaks for the gender part of the NDC manifesto. I mean, they have many spokespersons. She speaks on the issues of gender, and she will join us to be part of this discussion today. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. We'll start this morning from first what happened on Sunday, the media encounter that involves Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And I start from my right. Mr. Solomon also start the discussion for me. Good morning.
Good morning, Sena, and good morning to the President of the Forum for Accountable Governance, Lawyer Kwame Owusu-Danso, and your cherished viewers across the length and breadth of this world. I bring you greetings from Mr. Alan Chomantin, who is going to be the next president of the land, and also from all Movement for Change members and Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Today we will be inaugurating Zumunta in Dakuman, one of our Muslim Zongo branches, to further proceed with Alan's conviction of becoming the president of the land. See, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's media encounter last Sunday, if my memory serves me right, was to further explain his manifesto that was launched a week earlier in Takrady. Indeed, my understanding of what he intended to do was to, as it were, cover all the gray areas. Because after the program, after the launch, Ghanaians did not feel the sense of the bold solutions that he had touted all this while. That he was going to offer the country that bold solution to deal with the 14.74 unemployment, to deal with the 33.3% multidimensional poverty threshold, to deal with the dollar to the cedi, which is now 1:16, to deal with inflation that is at 20.9%, and to tackle corruption and also environmental degradation. So these were the issues that were confronting Dr. Bawumia, for which he was supposed to come with both solutions to comprehensively deal with it. But after that launch, there was hopelessness, there was despair in the air, because he provided or offered none of any solutions that could comprehensively deal with it. So he was advised, and I don't know those that advised whether they did it in good faith or bad faith, that he should quickly come and meet the press. Remember, this is a vice president who has been able to swerve the media for almost 8 years. He hardly meets the media. He only meets the media once a year, and even in these occasions, he prefers to eat and dine with them. Nobody asks any question, so he gets away with a lot of things that he says. So he decided to meet on Sunday. Mind you, the NDC too had launched their manifesto Saturday.
Yes, really.
So it was to achieve two purposes, what Dr. Bawumia did. One was to crowd the manifesto launch of the NDC, was to poo-poo it, and two was to better explain the NPP's manifesto. He went there unprepared and started answering questions. The first question he was asked, he gave us thesis. Nobody even knew the answer to the question. A harmless and a simple question. This man started giving us lecture from anthropology to zoology to sports to mechanics to all sorts of things. And so right there, some of us realized that we were in for a long night. Then came questions to do with the economy. What he himself had been saying. The popular one being, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate would expose you. Clearly, he could not offer this country the much needed satisfactory answer to that question, and expose how he has been untruthful to the people of this country. That indeed, yes, we know that the fundamentals of this economy are weak, and it's still weak. So it was for him to admit that I promised you a fundamental shift in the way and manner we do things so that our economy will be strong at all times. But there is no way anybody with the mind fully operating at 100% level will say that you took over an exchange rate regime of 1:4.2, and now it's 1:16, and your 1:16 is better than 1:4.2. Which mathematics will say this is correct? So clearly what he should have done on that day was to admit that the government has failed, apologize to the people of this country, and at worst, offer himself that he is withdrawing from the race to better go and think about the economy, restructure his life, take a comprehensive detail of his life, activities and politics in this country, and come back again. But this man will not do so. He will still push to be the president of the land. A lot of the questions too, he says he did not have any idea. And mind you, these were journalists sitting there somewhere, and you invited them to come and ask you any questions they had. So if you knew you couldn't answer all the questions, at best you should have assembled all your technocrats. But I'm not sure the journalists went there only to be told that, oh, we don't have answers, come again. And to my greatest disappointment, you were asked what has happened to the 8 people that died in Techiman, or they were Joe Techiman, yes, during the last elections. And you say you don't know what has happened. Mind you, he is the chairman of the police council. And the police is supposed to be dealing with that matter. So as a chairman of the police council, if you're unable to know the very institution that you chair, their activities, then what are we doing? You don't know what is happening to the economy, that you are supposed to be the head of economic management team. You don't know what is happening to the institution that you chair. Then what do you know? And there was a very simple question that you said teachers are suffering, nurses are suffering, traders are suffering, everyone is suffering. Are those suffering, those people that you identified as suffering in the past, is it still the case? Then the man started laughing. Was it the answer to Ghanaians? That was cheeky. So it was a waste of everybody's time. My attitude to manifestos and its impact. So I remember we started this fourth Republican dispensation in 1992. The first president occupied the seat of presidency in 1993, 7th of January. Now, at all material times, political parties have come out with their manifestos. They have explained their intentions on how to deal with the problems of the country. So if you take the manifestos of these political parties, if you like, start from 1996 till date, take a critical look at all that they have intended to do is the same thing to date. Yet we still, as a country, struggling. Now if you go to most parts of Accra, the taps are not flowing. We are being told that we risk facing food crisis. Our environment is destroyed beyond repairs. Corruption is all-time high in this country. So you ask yourself, why is it that the political parties, they have beautiful writings in their books that when we come, we will do A, B, C, D. Yet the very things that they promise that when given the opportunity they will deal with, it still persists. It means that manifestos are mere promises. And unless and until we get someone who is able to implement whatever has been carried out or put in these manifestos, we are not getting anywhere. You take a critical look at the NPP's manifesto, and they are saying it's bold solutions to our problems. Is that not the case? And I can say that about 99% of what is contained in this manifesto is contained in the 2020 manifesto. So why is it that they could not implement all the things, or the 99% of the things conveyed in 2020 manifesto to better our lives? In 2020, the NPP promised that they would reduce interest rate, or the policy rate. They would reduce inflation. They would improve the living conditions of public servants, and also create an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. At the time they were promising, in 2020, the policy rate was 25%. When they were given another opportunity, it is now 29%. So what went wrong? What prevented them from implementing the policies contained in the manifesto of 2022 to achieve a low policy rate? We were told that inflation will come to a single digit. It's double digit now. What went wrong with the manifesto of 2020 that they could not implement for it to come down, for us to have that reasonable inflation rate? Unemployment, if you go into the manifesto of 2020, NPP's manifesto of 2020, we were told that government's policy of NAPCO, government's policy, NEIP, where the youth are given grants and so on, will reduce unemployment drastically. It turned out that that was the opposite. Unemployment is going up every day. That for the first time, we have about 1.9 million of our youth idle, unemployed, having nothing to do, who are now turned into betting professors. Now, having turned these guys into betting professors, guess what they intend to do? They say they are removing betting tax. So what is it? You want to promote betting amongst the youth. Meanwhile, this current manifesto is telling us that when it is implemented and implemented well, the youth have jobs to do. So if you believe in the manifesto that it is going to remove youth unemployment or deal drastically with youth unemployment, why then do you aid or promote betting through the removal of betting tax? Now, we are told, if you take a critical look at our budget, 2 line items eat all our money: interest payment and then emolument. The public sector, as we speak, employs about 760,000 Ghanaians. That alone is eating all our money. Now, in the NPP's manifesto, they are saying one of the ways they intend to use to improve employment situation is to increase employment in the public sector, i.e. the security services. Now, if you increase employment in the public sector, what it means is that you are increasing the public expenditure. Even at 760,000, the country is struggling. So how much more you increasing it? Clearly, it's not something that they intend to achieve. Now we have also been told that the priority of the country is to build or train close to 1 million people who can code. I have never seen anywhere in this world where coding solves food problem. We are heading into a food crisis. Price the coding and let food come. So you do all this and you juxtapose it with what Alan is professing. To see. And that is why I have been telling the people of this country that beyond your rhetorics, beyond your emotions, it is time for you to compare all the manifestos. Alan started telling you about the new agricultural revolution. I'm sure you remember the number of times I have bothered your ears with the new agricultural revolution. That was since last year. We have not been told that there will be drought in this country. But Alan foresaw it. I said one of the ways of dealing comprehensively with the problems in this country, when man or woman is not hungry, about 80% of the problem is gone. So let's change the way we deal with our agricultural sector. He said, we have trained a lot of agronomists in this country. They are all in the classrooms. They don't have major farms to implement their expertise. Our fathers, our mothers, the old elderly men and women are still using the orthodox ways of farming. Cutlasses, hoes, and they are still doing the 1 acre type of farming. That does not pay. We need to modernize agriculture. We need to put more agronomists onto the field. We need to give them the equipment, the machines, the combine harvesters, the backhoes, the loaders, and so on. We need to feed them with fertilizers for them to modernize agriculture. Irrigation must be a paramount feature in our modern agriculture. Is it not sad that in the 21st century, the Minister of Food and Agriculture looks straight into our faces and tells you and I, when we are learning all the textbooks from primary to JHS to secondary school to university to polytechnic to every nook and cranny of this world, that irrigation is the order of the day. He looked straight into our faces and told us that there looms a food crisis because rains did not fall this year in 8 regions. When as a country, as far back as 1977, we had established the Irrigation Development Authority. Why? That Irrigation Development Authority wasn't established to be looking at football matches or watching hockey pitches or what. Their mandate is to develop irrigation in this country. So that when rains do not fall, we have the scientific ways. If the argument of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is anything to go by, then it means the people of UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, and so on and so forth, must be hungry all year. Because at most, or at best, they experience rainfalls 5 times a year. That's the worst case scenario. But they have food all year round. So how are they able to do it? It means the personalities involved in managing the affairs of this country, very paramount. We have moved beyond the rhetorics of managing an economy. If you went out there, and I wish Pan Africa would do this, as Kwame is here, he's in the media space, go around and find out how the Ghanaians sees politicians. It's almost at zero. They do not trust the politician because they have seen politicians and people that only comes around to promise just to take their power and then go and use it to benefit themselves and their families. So what the people on the highway are saying is that you say when you come our lives will be okay. No, it's not true. Yes, your life will be better, but not my life. So there has to be a policy shift in that direction. Then again, we are talking about apprenticeship. Here I think the NDC also said, but the NDC can also not take itself out of it. You see the betting thing, they are also, I don't know where they got it from. They said they are going to take it out for the boys to go and bet. These two political parties, they go to church Sundays, mosque Fridays, SDA people Saturdays. They come back and say, go and gamble. Alan is saying that after secondary school, there will be a mandatory apprenticeship for secondary school graduates. You, by force, go and learn either carpentry, masonry, plumbing, hairdressing, tailoring, and so on and so forth. So that before you enter any tertiary institution, you have a skill to work with. Now, beyond that, the manifesto of the MPP, the Alhaji Bawumia's manifesto, you know there were 319 committee members. You remember that? And you know they met 87 times. They only changed Alan's Traders Bank to SME Bank. Can you imagine? Alan says he's going to establish Traders Bank. NPP comes and says SME. What's the difference between traders and SME? It is these traders that some are S, some are M, some are E. We have small traders, we have medium traders, and we have large traders. That's the SME. So clearly, it lacks the originality. We risk facing what is happening in Kenya if we do not look at the competence, the credibility, the characters of the candidates that are leading. Here we are talking about Alan Chermantin, Mahmoud Bawumia, and John Mahama. At least two of them have occupied the presidency before. One is still occupying, who is promising that you wait on, hold on. When I get the opportunity in 2025, I will deal with your issues. After all, he has told us boldly that if I solve all the problems today, what will be there for me to solve tomorrow? And so for him, it will be unthinkable for him to solve all the problems today so that he will be idle tomorrow. I thought he was defeating his own team of it is possible. Well, it has to be possible for you to solve all the problems today. But on that occasion, he himself said it is not possible for him to deal with all the issues. So I believe that the Ghanaian will be better served, better off going the independent way. And I want to thank Samia Nkrumah for stating the position clearly that she is going to contest as an independent parliamentary candidate in Jomoro. This will be the second time. And in doing so, she was so emphatic in her delivery that the over-partisanship nature of this country is not taking us anywhere. And that we need a candidate that will bring all together to serve the interests of Ghana. Just recently, we all eulogized Kwame Nkrumah. Is that not the case? We praise Kwame Nkrumah for all the wonderful things he has done. Kwame Nkrumah is speaking to the daughter directly that this time around, go for an independent candidate. If you claim you love Kwame Nkrumah and you don't want to listen to the daughter, then you are a hypocrite. Kwame Nkrumah is speaking to the daughter. Samia Nkrumah is conveying the message from the father that Ghanaians do not vote for these two political parties. Look straight on the ballot and vote for Alan Chermantin. This one to what? So, Sena, what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia did was, at best, a comic relief that we all have to ignore. And there is something going on that I feel insulted about it. Alhaji has to be very careful with the way he goes about certain pronouncements. You see, he may think he was targeting a certain candidate, but I find it very offensive. I take club beer. I take club beer. I take club beer. It's the nation's favorite. For you to have gone on a platform to say that club beer is an alcoholic beverage, that all those that drink, we don't have a mind of our own. Alhaji, you sat at the Works and Housing Ministry and you did nothing, though you don't drink. You don't drink, but you did nothing and you were sacked. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, 23.3% of Ghanaians take alcohol. And here I want to admonish anyone that takes alcohol, the 23.3% of you, that Alhaji is saying that you don't have a mind of your own, you are not sensible, you are senseless, and by extension, if you are not sensible and senseless, it means you can also not vote for the MPP. I entreat all of you to vote for Alan. Alan came for you. If you believe, if he believes that, and the president also did that, you know, about a year or so ago in Parliament, that he said, those that know me knows I don't drink alcohol, and you are the president. If you think drinking is bad, why have you allowed the Accra Brewers, the Guinness Ghana to be here? Why have you allowed that? So all those people that I take club beer with, you know I am one of your own. I am telling you the mindset of you. Do you drink?
Alan doesn't drink.
He drinks Fanta.
So you're saying we shouldn't vote for him?
Me? We are calling all of them because we believe in them. I am working with, I am drinking, he is not drinking, so I believe.
Please wrap up for me. Please wrap up for me, sir.
But how can Alhaji be so reckless in this manner? That because what sort of nonsense is that? And the president himself, I don't drink. Anyway, those that drink, you vote for Alan, and let's see whether your lives will not change. Vote, and he will give you more drinks.
Solomon also, thank you. Thank you very much. If you just join us, it's a Matter of All talk show, Alhaji and Alhaji, live from the Osage for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studios of Pan African Television. We are talking about Vice President Bawumia's press encounter. Now, I'll go to Kwame Osu Danso. Kwame Osu Danso is a show host here at Pan African TV. I started being a lawyer, and of course, I joined the civil society train. And I take his views on what he heard. Kwame.
All right, thank you very much. Let me seize this opportunity to greet all your viewers and to thank you for the opportunity to be here. So you said what? All the people who drink with you should do what?
They should vote for Alan.
Okay.
They should vote for Alan.
So, originally, I decided not to comment on anything MPP because of how my station has been treated over the past 7 years. So, originally, you know, I was skeptical. I didn't want to comment on anything NPP because I believe that when you mention NPP, you are selling the name. So, I didn't want to comment on that. But I was prevailed upon last night that it is important to share my thoughts on what transpired when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia engaged with the media. And so I'm going to do exactly that. You see, Sena, what is the purpose of media engagement or media encounter? What is the purpose? The purpose of any media engagement or media encounter is to inform people, is to account to the people, is to educate people, and to offer the opportunity for media houses to ask you questions on your stewardship, and then you provide answers to those questions. So it is not an engagement, particularly if you are a leader in government. Okay? It's not an encounter that should make you be selective in inviting media houses. You do not have to be selective in inviting media houses if indeed you want to communicate to the people. So the viewers who watch Pan-African television may not necessarily watch any other channel. They are deaf-defying to the ideals, you know, that we hold dear, and therefore they are very religious in watching our station. Okay? Similarly, the people who listen to Radio Gold will not necessarily listen to any other channel. But how do you know whether or not the people who listen to Radio Gold and watch Pan-African television are not the neutrals? People who have not decided yet on who their preferred candidate is in the upcoming elections. So when you are holding such encounters, the idea is to reach as many people as you possibly can through those platforms. What did they do? I started watching it, and then in the when they started asking questions, when they began asking questions, I noticed that the questions were very ridiculous. So I tuned off. I wasn't interested anymore. And then I noticed that most of the journalists were praising Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and praising him for things that he has failed at and things that he has not been able to do, etc. And that brings me to the selectivity that I'm talking about. And you see, the selectivity in relation to even the choice of media houses, okay, is predicated on how the president himself has behaved towards the Ghanaian people. You recall that the president is on record to have told the chief in the voter region that you people, you don't vote for me. So because you don't vote for me, I will not come and fix your e-blocks for you. You recall that? Similarly, he told the people in the Kumfi that you people have voted to a candidate. You didn't vote for my candidate, so don't come here and ask me for any help. So all these things that are happening by reason of the conduct of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is what has created this glaring divisiveness, even in the selection of media houses. Because I know, and I can tell you, of some renowned journalists who were not invited, but who thought that it was an avenue for them to be able to ask questions on behalf of the Ghanaian people. Drive there in an attempt to ask questions. They looked at their faces and they never gave them the opportunity to ask the questions. Why? What was that about? So are you serving your followers alone, or you are serving the generality of the Ghanaian people? What is the essence of governance? What is the essence of governance? What is the essence of government? When people vote for you, whether the people in the voter region, whether the people in the northern region, whether the people in Ashanti or whatever it is, when we vote for you, after that, you must practice a government of unity, of bringing everybody together, of bringing people who hold dissenting views on your political ideology. Because you don't serve only the interest of people who are aligned to your political ideology. You serve everybody, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their ethnic background, irrespective of their political leanings. You serve everybody. But what do we see? I mean, this media encounter exposes that underlying hatred for dissenting opinion. And that is what was demonstrated when Mahmoud Bawumia met with the media. You see, and Pan-African television, and I like the fact that Solo asked whether or not Pan-African television was invited. We were not invited. We were not invited, and it's quite trite that we were not invited because we criticize this administration. We speak for the people. We represent the people. And therefore, we will not come and be praising you in an area where it is obvious that you have failed. We won't come and do that because of some chicken change that you will get. We won't do that. Because the generality of the Ghanaian people do not get the opportunities that are presented to us to do their bidding. So when we get the opportunity as a TV station or as a journalist or whatnot, you are in a privileged position to speak for and on behalf of the good people of this country. So when you are given that opportunity, that is precisely what you must do. Indeed, I do recall that when Pan-African television was first set up, an invitation was extended to all political parties, including the MPP. We were told to our faces that as for Pan-African television, we will not allow any MPP communicator appear on your platforms. Subsequently, the general manager of Pan-African television found the need to engage with the communications team of the party, the person who does the assignment, in an attempt to first of all understand the reasoning behind that decision and to see whether we'll be able to move beyond that periphery. Again, we were told that they were not going to give us their communicators to build Pan-African television. Fast forward, Pan-African television is the most watched TV station on the continent. You remember when they were conducting this, how do they even call it? Is it conference? Party conference or something like that at Accra Sports Stadium?
The Congress.
Delegates. Yeah. We applied to one of the media houses to cover the event. That was not approved. We followed up with a direct visitation, to the place. We actually sent our equipment and, we just went there to give them our platform to their program. We went there, then one Kufia Japan, or whatever his name is.
That's the name.
Approaches by people and tells them that we are sorry, you cannot mount your tent here. Go back to your station, watch it on TV and drink cocoa. That's what he told us. So, this is a political party that has decided that if you are a voice of dissent, we will have nothing to do with you. And that is why till today, the people who were the victims when the Bagri Dam was spilled are still suffering. They are still living in tents. It's been over a year and government has done nothing about it. Why? Because they are in the Volta region.
That's Akosomo Dam.
Akosomo Dam, sorry. Because they are in the Volta region. Why? Because the perception is that they do not vote for the MPP. And so if you don't vote for the MPP, then there is no need bringing you any aid. Imagine if that had happened in Kumasi or in any of the NDC, MPP strongholds. I'm sure that help would have arrived with a thunder speed. Our people are still suffering in the Volta region. Okay? So, this whole media encounter, in my estimation, did not yield the expected, desired results that we're looking for. And I'll tell you why. You see, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was evading the media by reason of what he did when they were in opposition, by reason of his conduct when they were in opposition, by reason of the fact that he was the one who is on record to have trumpeted and heralded all the promises that were made to the Ghanaian people. In fact, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the one who was organizing all those lectures. In his estimation, exposing the ills in the NDC administration and proffering solutions that when they got the opportunity, they were going to address all those teething problems that Ghanaians were facing. He is on record to have led that discussion. He is on record, okay, to have indicated to us that they had the best economic management team. And you see, sometimes when people engage in this subtle politics of confusion, it breaks my heart. Because the bearer of the news is the one who must be dealt with in the event that that news creates problems. You are the one who said you had the best economic management team. And indeed, I do recall, and it's fresh in my mind, that when he was mentioning the people who were going to be part of the economic management team, he was full of exhilaration.
He didn't have their permission to mention their
He was full of exhilaration. He was excited. He was all over the place, smiling, giggling. You know, that is funny, belly full laughter. Mentioning. And concluded by what a solid economic management team. And so today, if the dollar, cedi to dollar, is now 16 Ghana cedis, who should we hold accountable? Should we go to the president because we say that the president is the one who ultimately makes the decisions? No. You are the head of the economic management team. And you see, you are not the head of the economic management team for no reason, because you touted your expertise in the area of economics. You are the one who asked a Misata of blessed memory 170 questions. And last time I posted on Facebook, I said, Dr. Bawumia, why are you struggling? Because you are the examiner, chief examiner. You have the questions, and when you set questions, it is obvious that you have the answers to the questions. So one would have expected that you would have gone back to answer all the many questions that you asked a Misata of blessed memory. Why have you not been able to answer your own questions? Why is it that the policy rate now is at 29%? Why is it that you took inflation all the way to 54%? Inflation, 54%. And today we are asking you to account for the things that you said, and you are saying that you are only the driver's mate. Are you serious? Do you think we are fools in this country? So it is very unsettling for me when people who are supposed to be accountable to the people deliberately evade questions which are asked them for the purposes of providing that accountability to the people. You are the one who said that, oh, you know, when the fundamentals are weak, exchange rate will explode. What has changed? Are the fundamentals strong now? And the finance minister recently responded to our debt levels having gone up, you know. And then do you read his explanation? Very, very nauseating. Very nauseating. You borrow so much, and then you go for this Paris Club, you know, relief. And then they have extended that for you to 2026, and you are saying that your economy is rebounding. But you forget that all these loans that you have taken that have been deferred, you will pay them in 2026. So I pity whichever government will come into power in 2026, because the kitty is empty. The kitty is empty. Today, we are being told that the surgical ward in Kulebu is being shut down. Why? So the Ghanaian people should suffer for the insincerity of the leaders that we have decided to entrust our hopes in. We should suffer for it. Must we suffer because we had so much faith in the MPP? Must we suffer because we thought that based on all the promises that were made by Nana Danko Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, we voted them into office? Must we suffer for it? Did we make a mistake? Obviously we did. Because on hindsight, I'm not sure Nana Danko Akufo-Addo would have even been able to step a foot at Jubilee House. But you see, when you engage in politics of deception, performance will expose you. When you engage in politics of insincerity, the economy will expose you. Okay? When you formed your cabinet and Ken Ofori-Atta was made to head the finance ministry, Sena. Well, in the beginning, we didn't know him, even though we had doubts. But the doubts were not justified. I didn't know him. Maybe senior Kojochu Mwafu knew him. Oh, absolutely. So maybe he can speak to that. I didn't. No, I didn't. Do you understand? So we all have some modicum of confidence. And you see, I'm not like one of those people who would say that, oh, because I didn't vote for MPP or I didn't vote for NDC, if MPP or NDC is in power, I will not support them. No, I'll support it. Yes, a government. And this government is supposed to serve the interests of everybody. So we had confidence. And then later we found out that the guy was just borrowing. Eurobond, 2.2 billion, borrowing. Then they will come and eat cake. I said, who is this guy? Then later we were told that his bank, Data Bank, always benefits from the borrowings that he does. What it meant, therefore, was that it was a deliberate and intentional fiscal plan that was designed to hoodwink the Ghanaian people, but to benefit them. Because they benefited heavily from those borrowings that we made. Look, today, the Ejapadia document that people are poo-pooing and people are rubbishing and people are saying that it is only somebody who essentially is mad who would believe that a document such as Ejapadia exists. It does exist. I want to be part of the mad people who think that Ejapadia does exist, because everything that has happened in this administration is telling of the deliberateness of this group of people, okay, designed really to enrich themselves and to impoverish the Ghanaian people. Sana, right now, I love Kinky a lot. Everybody knows this. I think Mr. Pratt is on record to have mentioned that on this platform. They know I love Kinky. At the time, I used to buy Kinky for 1 CD, 50 pesos. Right now, Solo, a ball of Kinky is 4 Ghana cedis and 5 Ghana cedis, depending on where you buy it from. All because we entrusted our future into the hands of people that we thought had our interests at heart. I'm coming to the media, so, Sena, and I'll end on that.
Great.
That the media is a very important pillar of our democratic experiment. In fact, the media are the eyes and the mouth of the Ghanaian people. And so they play a very critical role in ensuring or in furthering and advancing this democratic experiment. So when the media gets an opportunity to engage with people that we have entrusted our lives or our livelihoods to, they must act right and do right by their conscience and do right by the interests of the Ghanaian people. What did we see? That you have senior journalists in this country who have been given the opportunity, the rarest perhaps opportunity, of asking the very basic fundamental questions that could have perhaps elicited answers that will comfort the Ghanaian people. Go there and praise Bawumia. To go there and say that, oh, we think that even no matter what happens on the 7th of December, you, Dr. Bawumia, you say, would have changed the face of the Ghanaian politics. What kind of stupidity is that? That you have a gentleman who made all these promises for and on behalf of Akufo-Addo, standing right in front of you. You have been presented with an opportunity to ask the very burning questions. And what you chose to do was to praise the man. Why? Is that how wicked we can be? So it saddens me, it breaks my heart. Now this morning when I was driving here, there was a nice, very energetic, endearing young man on the streets of Accra, right in front of Fiesta Royal Hotel. Sena, The guy was asking me for 1 cedi. 1 Ghana cedi to go and eat. Because it's not eating. I'm telling you. This is the state of the Ghanaian economy. This is the state of our country. When MPP assumed office in 2016, okay, their hatred for voices of dissent was very axiomatic. But as usual of us, we just downplayed it. They closed Radio Gold. And all the banks that were perceived to be aligned to persons who belong to opposing political parties, they closed them down. They closed them down, which created unbridled unemployment in this country. They closed them down. Why? Because they were voices of dissent and because they belong to persons who are perceived to have a different political ideology. And in concluding, look, let me sound this warning to the NDC, because I don't think that the MPP will win these elections. And I've stated this, and I'm not a hypocrite. Okay? And Alan Chemanti may do well, but may do. No, that's my position. No, you held your view. You held respectfully. So you held your view. You held your view. I didn't interject. What is this? You know, Alan, I interviewed Alan on Pan-African television. So say your mother. I posted Alan on my WhatsApp status.
Yes.
Too much club beer.
Said no. He says, I think.
Yes.
That is.
He cannot be taking it like that.
No.
Please allow him to think.
Is it Chubi? Chubi. You see, and this thing that I'm saying. And this can you imagine? And this thing that I'm saying, I know that Apia Namka will also come for me. But you see, I said it on my Facebook live feed. That did very well. I had about 100,000 views. Okay, and I'm stating it here again. That Alan may do well. Because he may do well. But I believe that the NDC will win this year's election. And I'm sounding this warning to them. That when they win, they should not think that because the MPP came to office and closed down banks belonging to NDC people and closed down radio stations belonging to NDC people, they will do the same thing. It doesn't help anybody. We must promote government of inclusivity. And I'm happy that John Dramani Mahama mentioned that he's noticed that there's some creeping divisiveness, I think, which was started or which started, in this NPP administration, and that he has noticed it, and when he gets the opportunity, he's going to promote government of inclusivity. In the final analysis, we have one Ghana, and all of us must play critical roles in ensuring that we continue to promote this democracy that we've been enjoying from 1992. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. Let me do a few comments on Facebook before I go to Shamima. Shamima is actually one of the standards by which those of us who do interviews nowadays are measured. One of the standards. Anyway, so I'll come to her shortly. But before we do that, this is Jose. Jose Angwambia says, talking about the $50 million. It says Bedi Etu's wife spent $50 million for feeding. There's Eric Koku says immediately in fact he sent a message before the discussion even started. Said Dr. Bawumia's meet the quote Solino Kofi encounter was a non-starter and dead at birth as he was bankrupt of solutions to the problems his government had created. Abdul Salam Rufai says some media houses are not being fair to Ghanaians. Politicians must account for their actions and not trances and should be subjected to public scrutiny. You go searching for materials and you find out either the materials are blocked or deleted, therefore making it difficult to establish the truth of matters. Why? Ghana. There's Musa Abatwa. There's Akufo-Addo and Bawumia's government track record shows a pattern of mismanagement and corruption, especially with the banking sector cleanup, where billions were lost without accountability. Any attempt to withdraw money from the contingency funds should be fearlessly resisted by all Ghanaians, as it risks being squandered in the same way. We must demand transparency and hold them accountable to prevent further misuse of public funds. We must vote them out of power for proper accountability. This is from Mohammed Misbahuddin, who says, Sena, we in the Upper West are proud of you, Shamima Muslim, and a very good gender person. There's Kukubo Steven, who says, Man African TV, God bless you for the good work you're doing for Ghana and the whole of Africa, and sends greetings to Kwame for the good work he's doing. Okay. Actually, I know you. Because the two of you have Usu in your name. Solomon Usu, for the good work he's doing for the movement for change. There's Lami Zanza, who is joining us. Good morning to you. Just sends greetings. Godina Chuchogbi says, Bawumia has shown his emptiness to Ghanaians during his media encounter. Gbagla Jamauli is asking, so when did Solomon get back to Ghana? Alan was part of the current government, and if not, Kufuor showing him the pepper, would Solomon get back? And then look, we are beyond this level of argument. Johnny Kujo says we are in a serious country, and people must take us as such. Watching Dr. Bawumia admit the press on Sunday, one thing that comes to mind is that Dr. Bawumia is not qualified to be a president. We don't want someone who can preach an economic policy but can't practice it. It's a no-go area for Bawumia. Godwin Fiadonu says, in the UK where I live and work, though there are jobs, people still bet. So providing jobs for the youth doesn't prevent them from betting, as it can be somebody's hobby. Real Ghana, since as a Senate, President John Dramani Mahama and presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress has disclosed plans to modify Ghana's current $3 billion IMF program if elected into office as president. The modification of the existing IMF program, the former president noted, will be to introduce and take out certain policies, albeit still maintaining and working towards the objectives and targets of the fund program. Thank you very much for sending in those comments. Shamima? Good morning.
Good morning. Is it my first time on Alhaji and Alhaji?
Yes.
I think so. So let me just take this moment to say good morning to all our viewers and those who are also listening to us on Radio Gold. It's really an honor to be here, and thank you so much for your company in making time to be with us. And special greetings to my people in Upper West, as you read from the text message, specifically my Somnets guys, the media watchers who have been doing very good work, all the communicators in the Upper West region, our 11 parliamentary candidates who have promised us that the Agenda 1111 is on course under the chairmanship of Chairman Bonas, and we know that we are going to deliver 11 over 11, and we're going to substantially increase the volumes of our vote. So please keep doing the work. So ya baraka ya gaja in your daban in your pogba ya tunatuma tinye anane ya ya tunatuma kare make sure ka John Dramani Mahama come December 7 una na dear te palonga John ya baraka ya gaja. So media and media freedoms, yes, Upper West. I'd like to start off by saying that I just sold you. I sold you, Solomon. Don't worry, I sold you. I'm waiting for how much they will buy you for. Bro, for me, when I started doing analysis, I have told every young person I meet, everybody I meet on a daily basis, I say that the most simplest way of arriving at a logical conclusion regarding who deserves your vote is to do a comparative analysis on some 3 broad areas, and the NDC is not running away from that kind of comparative analysis on the basis of the conduct of the people who have led and who lead, on the basis of the character of the administration. You know, there's always a feel to something, and my colleagues here have already spoken to the issue of the character of this current NPP and administration under the leadership of Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, and for which Bawumia seeks, you know, to be given a mandate which will perpetuate the same character that we have seen, because there's no sign of any departure. And then on the basis of competence, 3 C's: competence, character, and conduct. And if we did any objective analysis on these 3 indicators, we will not come to any conclusion other than the fact that there is no basis on which the NPP and Bawumia deserves a renewed mandate, because it's a renewed mandate of continuation. Now, the account says, they say something, they say that a foot to, correct me, a foot to ensakra nipa, jise nsoshe. Na se ushia obi, na onwa a foot to no ensakra no. Nsoshe sunu so a, anke ewo se ensakra no sunu. Onsakra no, it means it's a lost case. And that's what we are dealing with. Advice did not suffice. Advice to this administration on their unsustainable borrowing, their profligate lifestyle and expenses, their corruption, their arrogance. All good intended citizens who proffered advice were parried, insulted, disregarded, labeled, and then the trial started. Even when the signs were clear that we were heading on a downward spiral, our former finance minister was in parliament, waxing lyrical, telling the good people of Ghana that we are a proud people. He should have added that we are an arrogant people, because indeed it was the highest level of arrogance to see the signs and to still be delusional about your ability to resolve a mess that you created deliberately, because that mess benefited the people that you wanted to benefit within the New Patriotic Party. When everybody was telling you that where we are heading towards, at the time that you were clamoring for support, for help from leaders, across leaders who rode bicycles to their workplaces, you were busily, hiring private jets and going the length and breadth of this world, cap in hand seeking support. At this same time, we're telling you that your excessive borrowing was going to return us to an IMF program. You parried it. So they have parried advice, and now the trial started coming hard and fast. And still, the arrogance of power and intransigent nature of them will let them concede no wrong at all. They will concede no mistakes. They will concede no complicity at all. They will parry and blame everybody other than themselves. They will blame opposition. They will blame Ghanaians. They will blame, because they will tell Ghanaians that there's abundance of food. So what is your complaint? Go to Asamankesi and go and buy plantain if plantain is too expensive in Ghana. That is blaming everybody. True narcissistic behavior. Complete gaslighting of the good people of Ghana. To tell them that what they are feeling, they are not feeling it. The hardships, the pain, the despondency, the families that are breaking, the needless loss of lives because people can't buy their medications, the collapse of our health system, the collapse even of our educational system. They say that everything we are feeling, we are not feeling it. That everything we are hearing about their administration, we are not hearing it. It is contrived. It is propaganda. So the profligacy we are seeing, the corruption we are seeing, the state capture we are seeing, we are not seeing it. We are delusional. These are all messages they have consistently thrown into the fray to deceive Ghanaians and make Ghanaians even question their sanctity. Because they are like, when I go to the markets, it's not adding up. They are even telling us that the math that we were taught, the economics that some of us ran away from in 400, the demand and supply economics, the mismanagement, they are telling us that all those things we don't know. That we don't know that a 4 cedi to $1 exchange rate regime is better than a 16 cedis to $1 exchange rate regime. They are telling us that math that we know doesn't add up. They are telling us that the current level of borrowing, public debt, now they tell us that 761 billion is our public debt. And the excuse, as they always parry, is that it is because of the cedi depreciation. Now, who caused some? That's the question I asked. Who are the managers of the economy? Who caused the depreciation of the cedi? Which certain doctor told us that they had the men of timber and caliber, Every day they were telling us that they are the better managers of the economy, who was sold to us as the economic messiah. Alhaji Bawumia. 170 questions, as my colleagues have said, you wrote and you asked Emisa Atta, the late Emisa Atta, God bless him, his soul. You asked him to come and answer 170 questions as a vice president. So at that time, you mean you didn't know the role a vice president is supposed to play? At that time, you didn't know that vice president is just a vice president, the second most important, person of the land, the chair of the economic management team, the person who materially benefits more than everybody else, apart from the president. The next is you. You didn't know that the office of a vice president was just. At the time, you were demanding from the late Emisa Atta to come and answer 170 questions, same questions on which we ask you today that you are unwilling to address. The media encounter can be described as underwhelming. It was long rants to simple questions, like asking him directly, you said when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. He went on a long rant and ended up confusing the asker of the question because she didn't get an answer to her question. It was also a session of parrying questions and behaving like the typical Agama lizard. When they ask you a question that you don't know in exams, then you go and answer it the way that you want. He parried the questions because when they asked him, Alhaji Bawumia, what two questions, what two mistakes, because you say you are a leader of integrity. People with integrity, when they make mistakes, they concede and they apologize and they take steps to redress. You just don't say even sorry and end it there. You take steps to redress the situation that you have come and, the problem you have caused. Just two, Frema from City FM and Channel 1 TV. Two mistakes you can say that, okay, these are mistakes we made in our administration. He pretended like he hadn't heard, just as they've been pretending not to see the pain, not to see the hardship. They've been pretending not to see anything wrong with their administration. He did not address that question. And in another breath, you come and you say that, oh, you wanted to, you were against e-levy, but because you were a vice president, you couldn't do anything about it. Why pick and choose? Are you not a team player? Is governance not a collective? Is it every idea, every suggestion that even within our family unit? Is it everything that spouses even agree on? But when the family takes a decision, that is a binding decision. And when that decision, there are fallouts of that decision, from that decision, you bear the responsibility as every leader ought to do. You don't pick and choose the ones that you want to take claim and advantage of and praise for, and then tell us that for these other ones, I cannot be blamed for it. That is not a sign of a good leader. A good leader is a team player. A good leader accepts responsibility, and a good leader deals with the issue. The timing of the media encounter. And you see, I think that the atmosphere of accountability, the energy of accountability that we saw in the time of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and even the late President Mills, let's bring back that era of accountability. If there are real reasons why we are not able to hold duty bearers to the same strict standards that His Excellency John Mahama has embraced, continue to embrace, even in opposition, he is more proactive to accounting to the people. We know the tenets of democracy, good governance. It is at the core of it accountability to the people with whom you have entered a social contract with whom you pledge to serve, not to lord over. As Afrobarometer has told us now, that under this current administration, Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, that's the presidency and the government has shown heavy-handedness. that they have stifled the media and they have eroded accountability institutions. Not my words. In the same Afrobarometer report, that 87% of Ghanaians believe that under the doyen of democracy and activists, Ghana is heading in the wrong direction. Not my words. The timing was disingenuous. You had over a week to engage. So what was their post-manifesto communication plan? I would have thought that at the top of that plan would be immediate media engagement. You launched your manifesto, you allowed it failed. After a day, nobody was talking about the MPP manifesto, no more. And when you heard that the NDC was about to launch its much anticipated transformative agenda for jobs, accountability, and prosperity, you decide to schedule your media encounter a day after the NDC's, event. And I said that if you believe so much in your light, there's a song that says, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." If you believe in your light, why do you want your light to be dimmed under the shadow of someone else? Because you know that by holding that media encounter a day after, you will be struggling for attention from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. It was ill-intended, and any action that is ill-intended becomes a failure, as His Excellency John Dramani Mahama told us. Because it was ill-intended, it fell flat. Everything didn't go as expected. I've seen members of the NPP on social media say that it was ill-advised to have held that media encounter. Now I tell my colleagues, since the beginning of this administration, there were persistent calls by GJA, by media groups, media development organizations, that we must return to the era of regular media briefings and encounters, where you allow the press to engage the president. You are our employee. We are paying you with the taxpayers' money. 2 billion cedis is awarded to the office of the president. 2 billion cedis. So do we not deserve a right to find out from you how you are doing with our money? To ask you questions that are bothering and burdening us? To let you know about the hardships? The media is the interface between the executive and the people. You did not, in fact, you did not even mind them. Persistent calls for media encounters, you did not offer them any such platform. A party in government always running after a party in opposition, copying their initiatives, trying to catch up with an opposition party. A big brother of yours that you always take every opportunity to throw insults at. He has always been the bigger brother and the bigger person. That is the persona of His Excellency that I know. So the timing itself did not work to their interest, because their agenda was obvious. And then you insult them. Yes, media people generally are broke. You gave them 10,000 Ghana cedis. I heard some of them received 20, even that you prorated. The issue about discrimination. Because some colleagues of mine told me that they didn't get any 10,000 Ghana cedis. Why such discriminations? Why such divisions? Why will a party come into power and perpetuate and erode our democratic gains? And we're seeing such excessive rollback of democracy under this current administration. Now, if the second was the tone and the tolerance, as I said, largely discriminatory. The tone of the entire event, as you see it, the persona of Alhaji Bawumia, he was not dealing seriously to the matters. It seemed as if he was not taking the media people there seriously. And these are the things we, the media people, must call out. But I'm wondering, why are we fearful And there are reasons why the media is not as harsh as they were in the era of His Excellency John Mahama. Perhaps they have taken heed to the excessive attacks on journalists. Media Foundation for West Africa did a report tracking violations against journalists. And I thought those questions should have been asked frontally to him until we get some serious commitment that this era of silence, this going behind the scenes to bring back, after we have repealed a criminal libel law, to bring back other surreptitious, laws to stifle media freedom when there are existing avenues to seek redress if you feel offended by the media. The president assures us of one thing and does another. He said he wanted a vibrant media, that he would prefer a vibrant media to maybe a subjugated one. But freedom after speech, as the evidence has shown, is not assured. So speak all you like, but you just may face some consequences. We still have not been able to resolve the Ahmed Swaleh death matter. We still have not been able to address a lot of the violations, 79 cases of media violations from 2019 to 2023. Alhaji Bawumia has no thoughts on these matters, is not concerned that we are increasingly witnessing, and I'm not saying it, the University of Ghana, School of Communications, they did a report on the state of Ghanaian media. UNESCO has published a report, I even took it and left it, on the state of Ghana media. As we have made some gains, we're seeing a bring back of draconian legislations that are hindering press and media freedoms. We have come down from a top where we were even #1 at some time on the press freedom index. We are wallowing towards the bottom quarter as a result of these infractions that even the global community is worried about. Just 2 days ago, was it yesterday? 2 days ago, Joy FM held Protect Press Freedom program to highlight the need to ensure the safety of journalists, especially as we are going into elections 2024, because they are scared. Key major media people tell us, and we've said it publicly, that we are all self-censoring. Why are media people self-censoring? Why do you give us a carrot and then take it back from us? Why do you give us a right to information legislation to tell us that it is your show of commitment to expanding media freedoms and access, and then turn around and make it difficult for us to get access to information and make it difficult for people who want to do hard work? Manasseh Azuri, agree with him or disagree with him, see the kinds of work he did under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, some of which were disagreeable. But he has had to confess in his latest literary work, that's hard to say, that he was safer under the administration of John Dramani Mahama than he ever was under this current administration. That Alhaji Bawumia intends or wishes to perpetuate. That he became depressed and had to seek help from a psychologist. He was so scared for his life that the first time in the history of his journalism work, he had to move around with a policeman holding a gun in his vehicle. That alone was traumatic to him. He had to seek refuge outside the borders of this country. Please, there are real lives affected by the mismanagement of the administration of this government. And then the influence peddling. And sometimes the sheer lies that we heard at that media encounter. 80% of your promises you tell us have been achieved. Please show us. Maybe it has been achieved in your pockets. Maybe it has been achieved within and amongst your clannish few. Maybe it has been achieved by your friends and family. Because for that pensioner who was picketing at the finance ministry, this economy has not touched his life. This economy has led him to his early grave.
Okay.
For a chief justice, a former chief justice of this republic, who should know more and better than the most of us, to feel compelled to come out and go on demonstration with our aged, our elderly, our pensioners who put their money in government bonds, for that chief justice to come out and speak in condemnation about the governance and corruption and the mismanagement, that should be telling. If you will not even listen to any NDC person, listen to this woman tell you that there have been so many wrongs under the leadership of Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. So the media needs to step up again,
okay,
and demand strict accountability from Nana Akufo-Addo, who is going, Alhaji Bawumia, who intends to come, Napo, who is the vice, and let them learn civility. Let them not start deteriorating public discourse, and when they are met boot for boot, they go back and try to play victim. The insults that Jane Nano Opoku-Agyeman received when she was nominated, but none other, we heard the video is there, Chairman Wontumi and other assigns on social media denigrating this woman who has a stellar public service record. A woman whose experience, whose achievement cannot be compared to the MPP's running mate, whose conduct, whose character cannot be compared. And yet the MPP feels so entitled to be celebrated by Ghanaians that when they do wrong, don't talk about it. And when they find an infraction, they come and sit on their moral high horse, demanding that you apologize, condemning your action, but never ceding. This is the lack of integrity that is the character of the NPP administration.
okay,
A character with which we intend and we should not allow to perpetuate beyond December 7th, 2024.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, if you just join us, we're discussing with Bawumia's press encounter, and you just said Shamima Muslim. Few comments, few things. Now, this one is coming from Aziz, who is, he said he's inside a Futu Park in Samam. Says the way this Bawumia and Nana leadership in this country, Ghana, is going now, I think it's high time we forcefully remove them from office. I stand to be corrected. They are lavishly enjoying our sweat while we are suffering here in our own country. Good morning to you too, Aziz, and thank you very much for that comment. Alhaji says, please, and I know why in Ghana today, no one is happy because of the hardship Bawumia protest today. Even the MPP knows, because they always complain about it day and night. Muhammad's God is now exposing Bawumia, not the American dollar. There's more. This is it Bagon Yakubu, join us from the Upper West region, who says, say hi to Mrs. Shamima. It is because of a good work from Mother Ghana that I name my child as Shamima. When I hear of her name, I always remember Behind the News. God bless her to continue the good work for John Mahama. Thank you very much for that comment. Some more says, okay. There's this one. Okay, thank you. And there's some more comments. There's, can the panelists address the relationship between the much touted and flagship program Planting for Food and Jobs and the short-lived dry spell? If the Planting for Food and Jobs has succeeded as planned, can Ghana as a country experience a dry spell now? They should stop wasting our years. There's more just coming in. This one says, NDC must work hard to win because it's been long we witness good governance. Mohammed sent that from Tamale. Mohammed, good morning to you. There's one from, okay, says, we need change of government, not an upgrade of the state captured by Akufo-Addo and his Achim Mafia. We need no upgrade of the killer taxes and pension headcuts. We need no upgrade of kinky parties and daily scandals. We don't need an upgrade of the Japade manifesto by Akufo-Addo with his tribal regime. Let's vote against the third term mandate of Akufo-Addo and his puppet flag bearer. Pawili sent that. Pawili, thank you for that comment. This one says, hi, good morning. Sena, please wish my daughter a happy birthday for me. Precious, is it Abede Tete? Precious Tete, student at Flagstaff House Basic. She is 6 years old today. Please tell her that her dad and mom love her so much. From Godwin Tete. So happy birthday to you, Precious Tete. Mom and dad says I should tell you they love you so much. Hamza in Pig Farm, you're also joining us. Hamza says, according to AC, the exhibition of voter registration for verification by voters is to correct mistakes and abnormalities found in the register, so that it will enable them to correct it and prepare a robust register for the election 2024. So now check and see the mistakes and abnormalities in the register. It's only affecting one political party, and that is the NDC. Check across the various regions and see for yourself. Thank you for sending in the comment. Dennis Yakwete says, you see, it is not all contests that one has to respond to, if invited. Obviously, as a VIP of a governing political party with abysmal performance, a faithful response to many questions asked at that press conference would have been counterproductive, as that will certainly expose the rot of the government on which records Dr. Bawumia is contesting. Clearly and paradoxically, and for the first time, a VIP is campaigning as an opposition political leader, as every promises of him suggests that this government has failed, and yet he still wants to become president, as though collective responsibility is no longer the principle of political governance. Dennis Yakwete, thank you for that comment. And let me conclude this one, which says, MPP should stop annoying some of us by claiming that Ghanaians voted for them. The result of the 2020 elections would have been different if they had not applied violence by killing 8 innocent people, rigging, buying of votes, cheating and chasing, using armed illegal militants to intimidate the electors to win power illegally. Asanko sent that from Santa Maria. And thank you very much for staying tuned to the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live from the studios of Pan-African Television, also live on Radio Gold.
I just wanted 1 minute to just quickly go through what the next NDC administration has for the media, so that the media is well aware. We'll come to the media. Okay, wonderful. Yes. Okay, the manifesto.
Yes. True. Good morning.
Good morning to Kwame. Good morning to Kwame, my good nephew. And Shamima, good morning to you. You and I go way back. Until you run away from us. Thankfully, you are back. And so, greetings to my brother, who has been taking very good care of you. And
I'm sure he's watching.
Yes. He's been a very, very quiet supporter of NDC courses. So, Alhassan, if you are watching, thank you very much for all you do. Let me give my brother Atachi some advice. And the advice I'm going to give him, I'm going to read the advice. In 2008, when the WikiLeaks report came out, the American embassy, per the things that they write and hide when they go to every country, the subject heading is Ghana and the 2008 election, prospect for the ruling MPP, Accra. So I'm reading this. It was written and archived sometime before the 2008 election. So of the contestants who were the main aspirants for the MPP post, this is what they said about Nana Akufo-Addo. An ethnic Achim from the eastern region, Akufo-Addo is a formidable contender for the MPP slot. He is respected for his intelligence, political family background, and broad government experience, which includes 10 years as Minister of Justice and Minister of Foreign Affairs. He is reportedly backed by MPP youth and Achim businessmen. On the other hand, he has poor organizational skills and often comes across as arrogant and formal, which may not play well with many party activists and Ghanaian voters. His reputation as a womanizer and occasional marijuana smoker may also damage him politically. I didn't say this, the American government said it. So before you say anything about President Mahama, weed smoking was an offense then. So imagine that the person who was the Attorney General, according to the American government, was engaging in acts that carried a 10-year mandatory sentence. Right? And you sit there and you call President Mahama names. So even he became president in 2016. So remember that if God has decreed, even somebody who blows whistle kumo can become president. But just to let you know, we will not tolerate any foolishness from you people again. You have had 8 years to rule this country. You have completely destroyed this country. You have utterly destroyed this country. So don't talk as if, excuse me to say, you don't have any sense in your head. You will not get away with insulting President Mahama. You did it once before. And let me tell you something. President Mahama himself at the time told us not to mind you. This time, he won't even try telling us not to mind you. So, if you know what's good for you, don't call him any names. Because in the 3 years and 8 months that President Mahama ran this country, that you people allowed him to run this country, what he left is testament to why some of you are still living. But for you, GMC, where will you people be? But for you, GMC, during COVID, where will you people be? Let me go on to Bawumia. You see, that was just for touch. I'm coming to Bawumia. You see, Bawumia, I don't take Alhaji Bawumia serious. And most Ghanaians shouldn't take him serious. I'll give you 2 things. After all that is going on in this country, right? At his presser, he said 2 things. 2 things that I want Ghanaians to focus on. He said that it's better to be a liar than to be government official one. Forget about everything else that he said. You are seeking the mandate of the people of this country to run this country for the next 4 years. And you are admitting that you're a liar. So you want Ghanaians to vote a liar into office? We know that you're a liar. We know. But now that you yourself have admitted that you are a liar, let's begin with some of the lies you told. Do you remember that Bawumia told us that every constituency in this country will receive $1 million every year? Where's the money? I heard some of their serial liars or attendant liars tell us that, oh, the money has been used for projects. What projects? In 2020, before the 2020 campaign, Alhaji Bawumia went to stand in Cape Coast. And he said, if you haven't gone for the money, go for it because they will steal it in Accra. So he admitted that there were thieves in the temple stealing the $1 million per constituency. Bawumia, we know you're a liar because the money never came. In fact, I was waiting for the first tranche of money so that I could go and contest as a constituency chairman for Ayawaso West, so that the 1 million can come into my account. But it didn't come. So I didn't contest.
Timothy Bawumia, or is it Alhaji? What is his name now? You don't even know your name. We know you are a liar. Because you told us that the economic management team that you had put in place, to quote you, was what a team. Needless to say, it included Alhaji Martin, but I will get there.
No, don't worry. Let's get there. You didn't have the permission of Allah to mention his name there.
So, when you told us that the economic management team you had put in place was so robust, and that you had given the keys to the exchange rate to the IGP, the then IGP, and the IGP had locked it in a cell. At that time, the CD rate was 4 cedis to a dollar. Today, it is 16 cedis. And when you are questioned, your argument is that the rate at which the CD depreciated under your tenure was better than the rate at which it depreciated under the tenure of the NDC. So I ask a question. The business people who import, do they import in rates? Shamima, ask your husband. The contractors, when they borrow to go and construct, because the government hasn't paid them, do they borrow, when they are paying the bank, do they pay in rates? Does the bank agree that between NDC and NPP, the rate of depreciation of the CD is less, so you should pay less because, you know, I am confounded when I hear this man attempting to become the president of this country. Dr. Bawumia, you should be ashamed of yourself. You stood before the press. You didn't answer any question. You were asked about mistakes you have made. You couldn't answer any question. In fact, this is the first time in the history of recorded memory that a vice president is disavowing his government in situ and claiming that if you vote for me, I will do better. And when, as he said, if I solve the problems now, what will I do when I come into office? Dr. Bawumia, don't come into office. Because Ghanaians are suffering now. Under your leadership, people have lost their pensions. People have lost their savings. We have had odious haircuts. Under your tutelage, the so-called economic whiskers, and President Tekofado said he brought you in because you were a whiskid. If this is whiskid economics, what will you do when you become president? Bawumia, under your tutelage, the finance minister was allowed to borrow. The finance minister and the deputy finance minister's companies were the agents for the borrowing. The finance minister has made $10 million from borrowing on behalf of the people of Ghana. But today, as we speak, he is still buying AU village land for 132,000 cedis. After all the money he has made. And you sat there and allowed the people of this country to lose money, lose pensions, lose savings. And I am a victim of it, so I know what I'm telling you. 25 years, you put money away to save, and it's all gone. And the finance minister, when he went, the current one, when he went to talk to us from London, told us that we should know that when you save in the bank is a risk. Hey. Sir. So why didn't you tell us that we should just keep our money under our bed? You go to London and go and celebrate the fact that your execution has been delayed. Why won't you die? The debt that has been accrued to us. You go to London, and I'm very disappointed with Mohammed Amindu. What you owe us is an apology, unbridled apology. You should go on your knees and apologize to us for the mess you people have created. You go and tell us that inflation has gone down. You have withheld 246 billion cedis of investment money. That is the reason why inflation has gone down. Don't come and tell us that. What are you doing? You're not paying your debt. If you are not paying your debt, won't inflation go down? You people claim to know all the economics on this planet. And then you have some of your spokesmen, some of them who call themselves miracles, people who should be calling themselves curse, come and tell us that you were a member of the cabinet and the cabinet decided that we should pay e-levy. Dr. Bawumia, you are the vice president of this country. You sat in cabinet and you were overridden and you want to be president of this country? Are you serious? Do you have a pair between your legs? You are the vice president, the chairman of the economic management team. You sat in cabinet and you were overridden by whippersnappers. And you want to be president of this country so that you continue the mess, you continue the graft, the corruption, the buccaneering, you continue the brigand behavior that this government has shown. Is that what you want to do? And you think we are nuts, we are crazy, so we will vote for you again because you were the mate. Let us stay and now. Let us stay and now. Then you are standing. You don't even know how to dance. We should give you what? We should give you steer, so that you put us further into a hole after admitting that you were a liar. Look. Let me give these people a piece of advice. We are tired of you. We are tired of your stealing. We are tired of your graft. We are tired of the way you have run this country into a black hole whilst you have enriched yourselves. What you need to do is you need to go. You were the chairman of the economic management team and you allowed the governor of the Bank of Ghana to print 86 billion cedis. You allowed him to do that. You allowed Ken Oforiatta to sanction the printing of money with an HP printer. And you are sitting there and you are telling us that we should allow you to come back and print more money. You were the vice president when you allowed the Bank of Ghana to build a $250 million headquarters. When the Kolebu kidney dialysis unit couldn't find 90 million cedis, you allowed it. You allowed the finance ministry to sanction $250 million for all Africa Games, and all we won was arm wrestling medals. 46 arm wrestling medals. Is that the reason why we spent $250 million? When there are no roads in this country. Dr. Bawumia, give your head a wobble. Shake your head, give your head a wobble. Whatever you are doing, please hurry up and get the hell out of Dodge. Don't try to steal the election, because that is what you and your assassins are trying to do. The people that you have put in place at that electoral commission there, from the chairperson down to the last person in that place, are all party apparatchiks, party oppressionists. You are doing anything and everything to steal the will of the people. You can't do it. We haven't built hotels. We haven't given our brothers contracts, what do you call it, sole source contracts. We haven't done that. We don't have 8-story apartments. We don't have, we are not selling public land to ourselves. We are not doing any of that. So if you want to go and enjoy it, just live quietly, because you won't win the next election. The people of Ghana are watching you. And there's only one reason why there is relative peace in this country, because people know that your time will come. It's coming. Anything and everything you people can sell in this country, you have sold. Go around Accra. Do you people remember the place where they put the this thing? Near airport here? Yeah. Suddenly it's gone. It's being sold. Sorry, apartments are coming out of there. DVLA, where the police is gone. Agric mechanization lands is gone. AU Village, they are selling the lands for 132,000 cedis per plot. They were selling it during COVID. Whilst people were suffering during COVID, people were dying during COVID, and MPP party apparatchiks were selling land to themselves. Sold it to the governor and his 2 deputies, sold some to Kejemfua, sold some to their party apparatchiks from Holland, sold some to Awal. So all of them, their neighbors, in corruption and stealing. You are sitting there and you tell us that you have steal animal. That's how you copy. Drive any the yakopim. What take car ni mate went to me and Kasimbia, went to me and to talk, went to me and Yashi. Now you're telling us that we should allow you to come back. To do what exactly, Dr. Bawumia? To do what? What have you done that we should be proud of? Digitalization. That's his claim to fame, isn't it? Digitalization. He has digitalized everything, including digitalizing the food that we eat. So if I should do press 1. The food we are about to eat is currently unavailable. Please try later.
For Gobe, press 1.
For Gobe, press 1. For Wache, press 2. For Fufu Katin Kunto, press 3. Openama, press 4. I mean, let's get serious. What you should have done was to have said that since I have messed up this country so badly, I won't even contest. Let the MPP find people who are able to. And I'm not saying everybody in the MPP is bad, but this current lot, what they have done to this country, why are any of them even seeking political continuity? Except for the fact that they want to hide Akufo-Addo's mismanagement, his graft, and the theft, the stealing that he and the buccaneers who have run this country have engaged in. Akufo-Addo tells us, oh, when he finishes, he's going to hide in his village in Chebi. The south of France is Chebi, eh? You think we don't know? Eh? South of France, Chebi. Oh, you think we don't know? Sena, let me stop here. You know, you wake up in the morning, right? And there is depression. Depression. Shamima mentioned somebody, or was it, who mentioned that somebody asked him for a CD? It was Kwame, it was you, right? Yes. One of the young people that I help every now and then came to me the other day. I said, Uncle, I need you to do something for me. I said, what does he need? He said that his son had been sent back from school. His son, free SHSO, had been sent back from school for non-payment of some 450 cedis worth of something that he had to pay. And I asked him, but aren't you going to school for free? You know what he told me? He said, Uncle, Father Christmas and some no, why the catch you say school near free? 450 cedis free SHS had been sent back. You know, let's give it a back. Ghanaians have given you 8 years. There are 3 more months to go. Please, just go quietly, so that President Mahama can reset this country like he promised, so that you can account. And there's going to be an accounting. Make absolutely no mistake, there's going to be an accounting. You are going to account for your tenure. Make like we did. I went to Yoko 34 times. You will account. Make absolutely no mistake, you will account. The standard that you set for us, if we put you to that standard, all of you will fail. You will fail in total, like you all failed your exams. You will fail.
Okay. Mr. Chumbafo, thank you. Thank you very much. And talking about resetting, that is the topic for our next discussion. I'm trying to read what Shamima has in front of her. Resetting Ghana, Jobs, Accountability, Prosperity 2024 Manifesto of the National Democratic Congress. Give us a moment. We'll be right back and have that discussion.
Freedom, he's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead.
Well, thank you very much for staying tuned to the Mother World Talk Shows, Alhaji And Alhaji. Don't forget, we are live on Pan-African Television, on the social media platforms of Pan-African Television, and also on Radio Gold, many other affiliate stations across the country. Now, we have to move on to a very important discussion, the discussion of the NDC manifesto. That's out. In fact, it's a week old now. We've had it for 1 week. Well, we'll start with Shamima, who will lead the discussion for us, and then we'll take comments from the rest of the panel.
Thank you very much. Just before that, I just got a text that from the Okaikwe Central constituency about the demise of a young man called Frederick Ohine, who is a very hard-working member who died, I think, yesterday. So our condolences to the executives and to the family as well. So I'm just quickly going to, by way of education, especially for comrades and all communicators who would have to speak
I know
about
there's a lot in there,
yes,
but I'll be glad if you can be as brief as possible.
I'm just going to summarize some of the things so that my other panelists can go into the specificities. So we have a number of materials out in the public there. You may have received one. We have the main manifesto, which is over 200 pages. It's online. There's a short code as well. If your producer can even project the short code, people can, use it. It is an era of technology, and the NDC, as you know, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he was a deputy communication minister, a deputy minister. The foundations of the digitization that we today talk about was built very largely under his leadership because he truly believes in them. Then we have an abridged version, which are the highlights of the various thematic areas in the Constitution, in the manifesto, I beg your pardon. We also have the 120 days promises. If they are all online, we will try to also let Radio Gold and Pan-African TV share them. The highlights are the things that we are going to do in the first 120 days of John Mahama's next Chapter 2 government. And then there are some key policies from that His Excellency JM has announced that we have teased out. So these are the four main thematic areas, products, communication products that you will be seeing out there. You can use that bridge version. You will have a scan of our manifesto, but please be minded that that is not the full one. So if you're looking for something specific with regards to your sector and it's not in the highlighted version, kindly find the main version and speak, and then you can have a look at it. In our highlights, there's a message from our flag bearer. And for me, the part that I want to read out to our fellow comrades, so that in terms of the mindset with which we go into the next 3 months, we have the right mindset, a winning mindset, a mindset that is more solution focused, because without unity, today I brought also the NDC Constitution, which I'm going to read, because I think that we must build on the motto of our Constitution, which is unity, stability, and development. We must go into the next couple of months with that mindset. All the various challenges that people have in different constituencies, Greater Accra region, we need to perform, and we need to perform well. We need to mend these bridges, and we need to go into the campaign with a united front, if you bear with me. As our Constitution envisages for us, we are a social democratic party, and it is the same philosophy that has informed our agenda for reset. We are resetting the economy, and we are resetting it because of the way in which it has been destroyed by the New Patriotic Party. All the indicators are negative. The fiscal space is very restricted. There are a lot of job losses occasioned by their direct actions and inactions. The banking sector cleanup that made them use 20 billion to solve a 9 billion problem that has left many families 25 billion to solve a 9 billion problem, as the Bank of Ghana told us. A bankrupt Bank of Ghana that is today indebted to the tune of 80.6 billion. This is what we are talking about. There is an urgency to the now that we as comrades and actors and communicators, every sympathizer of the NDC must also become a communicator on their reality. The basis is that we are inviting you to look at your own personal situation. Look at the state of your money, your income, your savings, your investment, the state of your employment. Look at the state of your health and access and affordable, indicators. The state of your education for those who are still in education, who want, what do you call it, further their education? Is it affordable? Look at the state of our pensions. We are inviting us all to do this value assessment, because we have been told in the past that elections is about what is in your pocket. This is what our constitution is enjoining in a social democratic country, where we share the gains of progress equitably for all people, not just a few people. So the job creation initiatives, there are 10 major job creation initiatives in our manifesto. Our first order of business is to ease hardships, and because we want to do that, we are looking at a number of social interventions that we can immediately, and I'm just going to show it to you, implement to ease these hardships. It includes the removal of the e-levy. It removes because we need to reduce the hardships almost immediately. We want to ensure macroeconomic stability. That's another leg of the manifesto. Restore fiscal and debt sustainability. Restore investor confidence. And we want to prioritize investment in productive sectors for sustainable economic development. So what are we going to do? Immediately we come, scrap the e-levy, the COVID levy, the 10% levy on bet winnings, because the youth are... You haven't provided. You see, I agree partly to Solomon. A country on a forward move, a country that is actually expanding opportunities, productive opportunities for its young people, will not be worried about the numbers of its young people going into betting. But because of the restricted opportunities, because there are no jobs and there are no incomes, people have to find the least, what do you call it, the pathway, the easiest pathway to do what? To earn incomes. So you don't go and already burdened young people who you have made desolate, who are depressed, who have no incomes, who have finished school. Some have finished universities, they have no jobs, and yet every day they have to eat. So they will look for options that will be easier for them to make income. So we are removing that 10% levy on bet winnings. The emissions levy we are removing. Import duty on vehicles and equipment which are imported into the country for industrial and agricultural purposes will be removed to make it easier for the productive base. The 24-hour economy is our major job creation avenue to energize our productive base and to put people to work. Where we are now, we have been locked out of the financial capital markets. We can't go borrowing. Our borrowing has become, unsustainable. If we'll borrow with very conscientious and value for money approaches, and we'll seek private-public partnerships to execute the infrastructural project. The $10 billion big push is also another job creation avenue. The Women's Development Bank is another job creation avenue. The Ejuma Wura project that would support young people who have bright ideas to go into business and startups is another job creation avenue. The Mahama Cares initiative, which will set up funds and promote local philanthropy, because we all have to that song that you people like to sing, it's a very good song. I love it actually, because if we all come on board, we'll build a nation that works for all of us. So the Mahama Cares initiative is going to support critical illnesses that are not under the health insurance system, and still illnesses that people, cancers, hypertension, high blood pressure, those things, the kidney dialysis, so that when it happens, people come on social media and ask for fundraising to support. So Mahama Cares initiative is that we have an urban policy, is a fancy word that is like protection. How do we protect our aged and our elderly? We're going to give them, anybody who is above the age of 60 years should have free access to public services like transport and all that. The Universal Primary Health Care initiative is to strengthen the national health care, the national health insurance, but also to make healthcare access affordable and accessible, from chips compound to district hospitals to polyclinics, you can access universal primary health care for free. People say that, well, aren't we, as you have asked, aren't we promising so much? No, we are not promising so much. We know the kinds of wastages that has happened under this government, and we know how to realign and to reprioritize. The measure of any progressive society is what that society is doing to its aged, is doing for its children, is doing for its women, and is doing for its other marginalized, voices. That is the conscience and the soul of a nation. On to women and women empowerment. His Excellency has shown commitment to the elevation of women and women issues. He's shown it in opposition, and he's definitely committed to showing it again. Her Excellency Professor Nana Jane Ajiman's nomination as running mate it is a deeply thought out decision, because he knows that if we are not putting our women to work, our families will be the worst for it, and our economies will be the worst for it. Why? Because the small to medium scale enterprises is largely driven by women who work in that informal economy. Our agriculture is largely driven, the hard work, the real work in our farms and the cultivation and the sale of farm produce is driven majority by women. And so if we don't have initiatives that tackle their welfare directly, situations that have been worsened as a result of the economic situation that has pushed over 850,000 Ghanaians into poverty, majority of whom the Ghana Statistical Service tells us they are women, they are children, and they are abled and persons with disability. So in the spirit of our manifesto is that of inclusion, representation, and amplification. So to the women out there, we are rest assured that the next JM administration, through the Women's Bank Initiative, will address the immediate financial constraints to the operation of their businesses. Immediate. There's also the proposal to give 4 months maternity leave. So for those of us in the formal economy too, we are able to take care of our babies as we should. Because without the reproductive duty of women, our society and our labor markets will become, restricted. The pyramid will narrow, as some Asian and other countries are experiencing reverse population, growth. So these are some of the bright ideas that we have for women in our manifesto. For the youth, so many things for the youth. I think I'll leave some of them for my friends to speak. But let me wrap up on the issue of governance and what we promise to do, for governance, because that is the base of that's going to be the driving spirit for the next NDC administration. And I'll start to read from the last line of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, incoming President of the Fourth Republic. In his statement, please allow me to quote, "The NDC government I will lead will be about you, serving with dedication, selflessness, and deep love for the country. I solemnly pledge to lead by example and demand the highest standards of ethical conduct from all my appointees." He concludes, "I promise to exact accountability from all public officials, past and present, by the grace of the Almighty God, and with your support, we shall reset and build the Ghana we want together." After which we have written and we have shown Ghanaians the Ghana John Mahama left in 2016, which should be commitment and proof that these words he has said in this manifesto are not empty. They are based on evidence of him having done same before. I have said that we should trust a president who, under his watch, sadly so, some members of his administration found wanting were made to face the rigors of the law than a president under whose watch we are told is a clearing agent, is a mother serpent of corruption, a president who can write a Dear Cecilia letter to a minister of state found holding colossal sums of foreign currency in her home at a time they were asking all Ghanaians not to panically go and withdraw foreign exchange dollars from the bank, and nobody sees anything wrong with this, and the president sees nothing wrong with the optics and the incongruity of that action, and still finds it okay to say and even preempt the investigative bodies to the fact that you know, he knows that she will be freed. So under governance, we are going to start from us. And comrades must all be open to the fact that to be part of the next NDC administration is to think of the future of Ghana. We cannot repeat, and we must not repeat, the mistakes of this current administration for which they are going to be booted out. We must set great example, strict accountability. They will be held accountable through the operation Recover All Loot. Every ill-gotten wealth, asset that anybody who has worked in government has amassed for themselves, once investigations are done, we will look at it again and ensure that Ghana will be the better off for it. We are going to look, finally, inquiries will be made into the various scandals that has choked this country under the leadership of Nana Bawumia. Scandals like the COVID-19 management and its funds, scandals like the SML project, the Ejapa, the Marsets, the PDS, the SkyTrain, the Pualugu Dam that has drained over almost 12 million, and we have nothing to show for it. The appearances fees, the ambulance spare parts scandal, the illegal sole source contracts and scandals, among others, will be taking a look at. As we speak, the CDD and 4 other CEOs are heading to court over this same SML issue. Okay. Because they say that the white paper that came from the president asking that action should be taken because of the illegalities that the forensic audit showed, and yet in June this year, SML is back to doing their assurances work. CSOs are up in arms and have condemned the unprecedented levels of corruption. Okay. It is time for all of us to rise together, work together, rescue this nation, reset Ghana under the leadership of the abled, the trustworthy, the Ayebida, John Dramani Mahama, and Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I gave her time to send the foundation for the discussion. Now, having done that, each of my other panelists will get 10 minutes each, starting with Solomon Owusu.
As an NDC member here.
You start.
So why
you
would
have
I
10
get
minutes.
10 for Kojo to get 10?
You have 10 minutes, please.
This business of let's.
No, if we're discussing your manifesto, I'll give you time to say. So
I have never run away from my past as an MPP member. I was with the new patriotic party.
I beg you, Mr. Chumba, for my time.
Let me say that it's good to have all these things wrap up in a beautiful book and give it a title. I have also said this morning that we have done this from 1996 at least, presenting manifestos to the people of this country. Yet the very problems that we always preach to solve, always and always, are the problems that confront it. So the question you ask yourself is, why are we not able to implement our proposals carried in what's the name, manifestos? And that is, for me, where all our attentions must be geared towards. If you look at Ghana and what she read are all contained in the GTP, and rightly so, because our problem as a country is one. And for which reason we must all have a similar solutions to the problem. We all know that there is high unemployment in this country. We have infrastructure deficit. We have food crisis ahead of us, or we are confronted with high imports of food. corruption is very pervasive in our system and so on and so forth. So if you want to deal with it, you have to have some common solutions to deal with. But having said that, it all boils down to the individual taking the decision.
Okay.
From what has happened between 1992 to date, my conclusion of why we are unable to deal with matters is the personalities involved. For instance, NPP presented a manifesto. Nowhere in the manifesto that said they were going to put up a cathedral. But the individual leading said God revealed to him that he needed to put up a cathedral. So clearly it tells you that it's not about what is written in the book as manifesto that matters, but who is taking the final decision. And that is why I would always, at any given time, recommend to you Mr. Alan John Kwejo. Now, common areas. Yes, the movement for change under the able leadership agrees with the NDC on these following areas. And I really believe that it's a good thing to do. We would also abolish the special import levy of 2%. Abolish COVID-19 health recovery levy. And then also eliminate the existing compounded calculation of VAT. They also have it. But once again, we disagree entirely with the NDC and MPP that betting taxes must be removed. That one, even if you chop off my head, and that is a distinct feature between Alan Chamantin and the National Democratic Congress, as well as the New Patriotic Party, because he believes that we have to, if you are a leader, you must safeguard the people that you lead. Leaders are supposed to lead. It's not every money that is choppable. There is a reason why we put taxes on alcohol. Then you can make alcohol also free. But we want it to be punitive. If you say you will drink, you will contribute more to the state. If you say you want the youth to continue betting, they must contribute to the development of the state.
You haven't given them jobs.
So then, but Shamima, your manifesto is saying you are providing jobs to them. So then it's even there is no immediate relief that will promote betting under the able leadership of Alan Chamantin. It's straight up. If we are able to reduce corruption by just 10% in the first 2 months, it takes care of the youth. And that is why immediately Alan says Traders Bank will be established to offer these young ones soft facilities to be able, if they want to go into their own business. Again, the business resource centers will be enhanced so that young ones that want to learn the act of doing their own business, you go there, you will be treated to how to prepare your own business plans. And after that, remember, he modified the Ghana Enterprise Agency to its current status. You carry your business plan there, you are given grant to start something on your own. Again, to deal with the huge or the teeming youth employment, mind you, there are certain sectors of this economy that are still looking for labor. I keep telling you that we don't have enough plumbers in the system, enough painters. Of the painters you have in Accra, about 70% to 80% are coming from Togo and Benin. That is what people don't know. And that is why you must discourage betting. Because if you are promoting betting, the youth, their ability to go and learn apprenticeship. And interestingly, the NDC has apprenticeship in their manifesto. So that is why it's for me, it doesn't sit well. You want to promote apprenticeship. These young ones, when you expose them to cheap money. Or if you make them think that it's very easy with betting, who would go and learn any trade? So Alan says, when you finish your secondary school, apprenticeship is mandatory. It's compulsory. It's by force you will learn. So that we fill in the gaps. And beyond that, we even export some of these skills to make money for the country. Beyond that, there is a very vital component that is missing in all these manifestos that Alan captures, which is the mindset and behavioral change. Mindset and behavioral, let's go there. If you don't change our mindset and behavior, you will have the Minister of Youth and Sports. Lack of patriotism looking straight into our faces, together with Bawumia. Mind you, this Minister of Youth and Sports is so close to the Vice President. So close, extremely close. He's an ally of the Vice President. Tells us that he has spent $245 million in hosting the 13th All African Games. And in there, $15 million was used to feed the multitude. Jesus fed the multitude. It was less than a shilling. You feed less than 5,000 people, you save $15 million. Games Village, $16 million. Tax, $4.5 million. Internet, $3 million. GBC live show, showing of matches, games, $3.6 million. And we are told that they receive only $105,000. It's lack of patriotism, the love for money, the love for politicians to steal from the poor, the very people they preach that they want to help. You get my point? And that is why Alan is so much concerned about the mindset of the people of this country. So when he comes, he is going to ensure through policy that the patriotism of the Ghanaian is what is brought back. And for me, in terms of how we are going to deal with governance, he has promised you 40 ministers, and we have listed the ministries you are going to create. We are not waiting to come and think about it. It is here. So that if you are following around and think that all that you are looking for is to be a minister, please join us in the common floor. Common floor members, we are cheerleaders. You get my point? Then again, corruption. See how people have stolen. They have seen monies under beds, under pillows. People enjoy left, right, center. They are building like hell. Go to Cantonments, Alaboni. It's a crime scene. Every corner, they are putting up buildings. Using the Lebanese and the Indians and the Syrians and the Turkish to front for them. You and I, our money, that's why they are using it. Okay. Alan says when he comes, he will align all the legislations, all the corruption agencies, put them one, and appoint anti-corruption czar. He is not corrupt. Can you imagine if Alan had done anything that is semblance of corruption, and with the way he has taken almost 70% of MPP support base, by now his name will be in all the newspapers about his corrupt deeds. But because he behaved properly, leadership by example, he will not steal for you to steal. Okay. You see how you are rushing me through. Yeah, I have to take 2 waffles to time.
Thank you.
Or you give me
Thank
yours.
you. James in Kumasi says, good morning to you. Please ask Solomon for me whether the voters register is full with the multiple names as the NDC suggests. Have the movement for change also noticed that?
We were the first
if it says no.
In Kushegu and Karaga. We said it. We told the Electoral Commission that they were picking voter ID cards under the pretext that they were going to give them loans. Why do you take voter ID cards and say you are going? We know all the tricks in there, but we are going to beat them to it on election day. Let me take it from me. This country has a spirit. No amount of machination.
Thank you. Cody.
Doris, you have a position in administration.
So I only have 10 minutes, please. You know, the topic is the NDC manifesto, whether it's actionable or a compendium of promises. I'm on record to always admit that I am not a fan of manifestos, because in my view, it is just an expression of intention of political parties to tell the Ghanaian people what they intend to do when they get the opportunity to govern them. And so oftentimes, you know, I look for more in a manifesto, and I try to look for more every single time, and I don't, you know, get what I don't get to see what I want to see. And I think I've asked Alan Kojo this exact same question. When I read their manifesto, the first time I read their manifesto, the first portion of it, it appeared very clumsy. So I did not understand. It was more like bullet points. So I didn't really appreciate the manifesto. So I asked him, I said, oh, but all of these things are bullet points. You are just telling me what you intend to do. How do you intend to do them? Then he said, oh, manifestos are just policies you put together, but there's always a document that explains the executable aspect of it. So it is not conclusive, and that if I needed more explanation, he was going to give me that. And, you know, obviously I got to understand their manifesto better, you know, through the Alan Speak program that I'm hosting, right? Where he tries to explain all the policies and things like that. So on the face value, I'm not a fan of manifestos. But there's something that has uniquely changed in this 2024 elections. Suddenly, the conversation has moved away from Mr. Handsome, from Mr. Nice Man, from I am overly NDC, I'm overly NPP, to scrutinizing the political parties' manifestos. And that is why it has now become a competition of whose manifesto is actionable, okay, or a compendium of promises. Now, the Ghanaian is very critical of what this political party is going to do for me, as opposed to I'm voting for this person because he's handsome. Because of the experiences that the Ghanaian voter has had relative to all the political parties and the leadership that we've had in this country. So the new Ghanaian, or the new Ghanaian voter, has become very aware of, first of all, their current situation and the future situation. So we are not only thinking about the now, we are also thinking about what will happen in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. All of these things we became aware of because of the mismanagement of this administration. So Ghanaians have become very aware. Now, is the NDC manifesto an actionable plan? I dare say that even though I'm not a fan of manifestos, I will be the first to admit that in their manifesto, it appears that it is not just about policy initiation or identification. It is also policy, or it's also encapsulates the plan that they intend to use in executing their policies. Okay? So I'm happy that it is not just putting words together because you want political power, but it's also about telling you how we will do what we say we will. Okay? Now let's look at the actionable aspect of it. The NDC promises that there's going to be infrastructural revolution. And they are saying that they are going to achieve that through a huge investment of $10 billion. The big push. And I think that if you look at how they intend to facilitate that, there is a demonstrable evidence that they are going to achieve that through the implementation of the 24-hour economy. Because the 24-hour economy, if implemented carefully, will transform the whole economic situation of this country. Because it's going to lead to job creation, which invariably will bring about some relief economically to the Ghanaian people. And by extension, the country will be able to generate so much so that they can what? They can expand the other aspects of the economy through industrialization, you know, through production, through export and all of that. Because when you export more, you bring in a lot of what? A lot of revenue. And you don't have to, you know, send dollars out of the country and things like that. So for me, that $10 billion big push is perhaps one of the most significant aspects of the manifesto that, you know, resonates with me. And I'm very happy about it, right? Another aspect of their manifesto, which also finds expression in the manifesto or the Great Transformational Plan, is that desire to bring back our economy on a proper economic pedestal. Now, the NDC is saying that Okay? They are going to ensure that there is some economic management of the whole economic outlook that we have. So by so doing, they are going to ensure that they plug some of the loopholes that we have, which loopholes have created some imbalances in our economic outlook. They are going to plug those loopholes. One of the things that I liked about Ken Furata, and again I will use him as an example, is when he was before the Public Appointments Committee, there was that admission that we were losing at the time about $500 million or so at the ports. And this was a problem identified, and when given the opportunity, he was going to address that. So anybody who identifies those types of leakages in the system and goes beyond the identification to proffer solutions to them, I like you. Now, if you move beyond that, the NDC is also promising some fiscal discipline in the economy, and we do know. Again, Kenneth Rata, you recall that he intimated, and quite forcefully, that we were fiscally indisciplined, and that is why our economy was in a mess in their estimation under the NDC. And that given the opportunity, they were going to ensure that we were fiscally disciplined. Fiscally, as in F-I-S-C-A-L-L-Y. Disciplined, not physical. Fiscal, money, discipline, right? Look, we live in a country where the consolidated fund has been squeezed to the point where it can no longer breathe. Because you see, before now, the GET fund, NHIA, and all the other statutory funds were ring-fenced such that any money that is generated or that is specifically put into those statutory funds for the purposes of using them for those specific areas, right, were used for those purposes. Your man came and said, hey, how do they even call it? Capping. Essentially, what that means is that ring fencing has been removed. So all the money that we generate is put into the consolidated fund. They will just dip their hands in the palm and then they use it for. So money meant for payment of NHIL levies will be used for, let's say, road construction, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, it used to fly.
you get the point. Yeah. Exactly. That is the kind of country we have. That is the kind of leadership we have. Okay. A leadership that does not think about the aspirations of the Ghanaian people. A leadership that has failed to give hope to the Ghanaian people. A leadership that has left the Ghanaian very despondent. Right now, people are committing suicide. Do you know how many young people are committing suicide? Finally, Sena.
And land on that note for me.
And I'm landing on that, I promise. You see, accountability is the most essential part of governance. And I'm happy that when I listened to the presentation of Samuel Okujeto at Blakwa, it was very clear to me that the NDC intends to investigate every single act of corruption, whether alleged or specific corruption. Those acts of corruption or persons who were directly involved or indirectly involved, brought to the fore or exposed and action taken. I will be very elated to see that that is properly executed. Because if we're able to investigate properly, if we are able to identify all these persons who are involved in causing so much damage to the country are brought to justice, I will be very happy, and I will consider myself a Ghanaian. Because as at this point in time, I'm a Ghanaian, all right, but I'm a Ghanaian who has lost hope in this country.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, two comments, then I'll come to Engineer Chumwafo. This is Idi Gideon Mutari, who says Ghanaians cannot afford to upgrade the legendary pervasive corruption, state capture, nepotism, recklessness, arrogance of power, overborrowing, impunity, lawlessness, and galamsey, amongst many others. Ghana needs a reset, rebuilding, and transformation. Ghana is dying in need of a president with integrity, honesty, and experience, but not an experimental man who is just a mate without a license. The new change is imminent. And that's from Edie. Sami at Goka in German North says, Sena, my piece of advice to the NDC is that they shouldn't sit only on TV and debate Dr. Bawumia, but come to us to assure us how they are going to make our cashew farming promoted and compete with that of cocoa. That is what some of us are waiting to hear to decide our vote. This, I think, Chairman Sidin Ketia should be aware since he's from our zone. Look, Ghanaians are only interested in how we can also survive. That is all.
Sena, a manifesto by definition is a statement of intent, public declaration of statement of intent. So if you know what the person who is stating his intent has done before, then it makes things relatively easier for you in order to determine your vote. To the person who just sent the last message, I was privileged to serve as President Mahama's Chief Executive of the Ghana Free Zones Board for 8 years. So you remember what we did for cashew exporters and cashew farmers. If I'm lying, send another message because I was at the helm of it. President Mahama left this country. So in effect, I don't think that at this time you should still be waiting to find out who you are going to vote for. Because if you are worried about what has happened in the past 8 years, if you vote for Bawumia, it will continue. But what President Mahama left this country, some of the indices he left this country was a 55.6% debt to GDP ratio. Today is 104%. What President Mahama left us was a budget deficit of negative 6.1%. Today it's climbing upwards of 15%. That is if you can even measure it, because you don't know how much money the HP printers at the Bank of Ghana have printed this year. You wouldn't know. What President Mahama left us in terms of deliverables are 2 oil fields. President Mahama left us oodles of money in the Ghana Infrastructure Fund, which President Akufo-Addo proceeded to hand to his brother-in-law to squander, right, in the name of building a hotel at the airport city, a hotel that has not passed, I think it's more slightly advanced than the black hole that you call the National Cathedral. That money is gone. President Mahama left us UGMC. He left us the airport, Terminal 3, and I dare say that I've had the privilege of traveling through that airport a few times. I also dare say that I was with him when he made his case to the Turkish government to come and help us build that airport. So the deliverables, when it comes to President Mahama, sit there for you to know. So his statement of intent is a reaffirmation of what he can come and do. Unfortunately, his time in government was truncated by a cascade of ethnocentrism, elitism, and see, I mean, I don't want to use the wrong expression, but it was an amalgamation of lies and deceit coming from all fronts of our socio-political strata. So you had priests and pastors lying when they knew who the other guy was. Some of them were going to his house every single day to pray with him. What were you praying for? What exactly were you praying for? So we are where we are. For those of you who read the Bible, do you remember when the children of Israel asked Aaron for an idol when Moses had gone to consult with God? When they got the idol and they got the result and they started complaining, Moses asked them, but what did you ask for? When you ask for an idol and pastors help you pray, sometimes God grants your wish so that you know what you should never ask for again. There was collaboration from civil society groups, the same civil society groups who are going to court today. What are you going to do in court? What are you going to do there? Kwame, you're a lawyer. What are you going to do there? The government you wanted is the government you have gotten. Why are you going to court? What are you going to court for?
I went to SP.
People are going to change their mind, though.
I understand.
So
I understand that.
It doesn't fall.
But if you had listened, you would have known. Because Nyahotamaklo told you. Right? Kofi Kumsin told you. Yours truly, how many times didn't I tell you people that this is where you were going to get to? But even I did not know that we were going to lose our pension. Right? How many times did President Mahama not acknowledge mistakes that we make? I remember President Mahama going to Parliament to apologize for doing so. Something that was not his making. We had not been investing in the power sector since God knows when. During the Kufuor administration, there was doomsday. Between 2006 2007, there was doomsday. During the President Rawlings administration, there was doomsday because it is of a cyclical nature if you are not investing in the power systems. President Mahama left us oil fields, he left us gas plants. And these people came, and whatever he had done, they said it wasn't enough. Today, we have a result. Thankfully, President Mahama is still alive. God has kept him. God has preserved him. So he is coming back to finish what he started. Kwame, you made a statement in your earlier, and I'll end on this. You made a statement in your earlier submission about NDC should not think of coming to close down people's banks. Let me ask you a question and reason with me here. There is a certain former bank owner called Dr. Pakwesindu. The NDC gave him his banking license in 2014. In 2016, he said Ghanaians should vote out President Mahama because they want a more business-friendly government. And the Ghanaian people duly obliged. When the business-friendly government came, they took his banking license. So, let me ask you a question. Do you want the NDC to give him back his license?
Now he has repented.
You know, let me wait. You see, what I'm saying is that. So wait. Sometimes you get exactly what you ask for. That is not political. What I'm saying to you is that because you see, I was a part of the NDC administration. And President Mahama took pains to make sure that nobody was politically punished.
That's true.
Right? So, ICGC, the pastor who sees animals now, he criticizes the NDC, and the bank he's fronting gets a banking license. Right? Wasn't he the person who stood in the pulpit and said that the cedi will reach 10 cedis to the dollar? Wasn't he the one who prophesied? And when the government that he wanted came, his prophecy really did come true, but it didn't happen under the NDC. And that government took his banking license. You understand? So President Mahama is going to sit down and right all the wrongs.
Okay.
But what I'm simply saying is that there's an old Chinese saying, be careful what you wish for. You may just get it.
Okay.
So wish that President Mahama comes back to power so that he can right all the wrongs that has gone on in the last 8 years. Because as a government will say, won't be.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we have a few minutes to go. But before we go, Kwame, you have put a petition before the OSP on this matter of the All African Games. No, they now call it the African Games. They say there's no more all.
Okay.
What are you seeking to achieve with this?
Oh, accountability. Accountability is all we're asking for. You see, and people must be prosecuted in this country. So, Sena, the essence of governance is to bring about accountability and to give hope to the Ghanaian people and to solve their problems. The essence of governance is to lead, and the essence of leadership is to solve problems. That's what Bawumia is saying. So we think that it's not justified or justifiable for anybody to spend $245 million on All Africa Games. And when you look at the specificities,
they are not praying in that place.
Yeah.
The place is not a church.
A church, yeah. When you look at the specificities, you are looking at $15 million on food. I don't know which kind of food they ate. That will cost each athlete. That will cost them to pay each. I think each athlete was about 1,700 Ghana cedis per meal, per person. How? $15 million, $60 million for this hostel refurbishment, $4.5 million for A4 sheet, which is laminated as accreditation. 4.5 billion. So we want to know the companies because we believe that there are people who are close to this administration whose companies got the opportunity to provide the services. Specifically, M&L Company Limited. We are asking for the OMC to publish all these things because and you know, because obviously yes, it's with PAC, and Auditor General intends to also do its own internal assessments and audit and things like that. But we think that the OSP has prosecutorial powers. And therefore, after investigation, they must prosecute them. Because I believe in my heart of hearts, okay, and my belief is fortified that people have chopped money. It's in their pockets. Either they are using it for the purpose of the election, or they are saving it in the event that they lose the election, they will still have something to fall back on. And those monies must be retrieved by the state. And it is important, honestly. And we won't sit down and always sit on TV and complain as a journalist and not do anything about it. I decided to take the initiative. Solo was right there with me. I just called Solo and said, Solo, this thing is upsetting. Solo said, Kwame, why are you? I'm coming. So we've done that. And I'm happy to say, and finally, that there are lawyers, there are accountants, there are economists, you know, and other journalists who have called that they want to be part of the Forum for Accountable Governance. Yeah. So it tells me that people who have knowledge should be able to contribute to the development of Ghana.
Yeah. And Sena, another big issue waiting to blow up in our face is the announced $8 billion that is supposed to go into mitigating the effects of the dry spell. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana have already come out, and I think they plan to petition that the politics that this planting for food and jobs is being bedeviled with, and that the real farmers, the peasant farmers, have not been the beneficiaries of even previous interventions. There are intermediaries as we speak that they've sent them implements and tools after they have planted, because they have planted and the things are not already working. You know, in Upper West, there are major challenges. Upper West is like the grain region of especially maize. The Sisala belt can feed the entire nation if we put in the right interventions. And you have now, you know, the horse has already bolted, and you're asking for 8 billion cedis to go and give to these so-called farmers, and they are telling you that work with our peasant associations. And yes, this is exactly I'm just reiterating all these get quick money schemes that go in, and it's all gerrymandering, it's all vote buying antics. Especially now, 3 months to an election, they want to pump so much money into the system. They say they are, you know, for themselves, and for their party people. You know, so I think that the Peasant Farmers Association, they must come out publicly. If they need to protest, they must come out.
Okay.
And they don't even have the list of the farmers.
Okay, my time is up.
That they don't have a list of the real farmers.
My time is up.
Sena,
Brief, very brief.
If you have killed the goat, bury it well. Listen, what happened to One Village, One Dam?
Give it to me.
What happened to One Village, One Dam? Countries like Israel. Countries like Israel, Jordan, right? Countries like Israel, Jordan, and other countries that do not have a drop of water.
And they are giving party people.
They are some of the biggest agricultural countries in this world.
Thank you.
So when Ekufuado and his gang of brigands and buccaneers and highway robbers told us that they were going to do, when they were told us they were going to do One Village, One Dam, and some of us told Ghanaians that they were thieves. This is what we were talking about.
Thank you, engineer.
They are thieves.
Well, one of you who watches us constantly on Pan African TV, reach out to my producer and ask that we do you a favor of announcing this on the show. Because you said your sister has been missing for 2 weeks now. You've been looking for her. So if you're watching TV, you're watching on Facebook and see the name. Her name is Hawa Sabute. Now, she's been missing for 2 weeks. 2 weeks now. Was missing around the Suhum and in Saum area. So the Suhum and Saum area. She's been missing for 2 weeks now. There are numbers you can call, get in touch with the family if you've seen her. If you met her, let the family know. Numbers to call: 0243 814 665. You can also call 0249 835 585. So you can look at the face critically and help this family locate Hawa Sabute. A big thank you to everyone who joined us on the show today. If you watch us live, if you listen to us, we're grateful to all of you. Thank you very much for making time with the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, for today. A big thank you to Engineer Kojo Chumbuafo number 2, who is the former CEO of the Ghana Free Zones Authority. And of course, Shamima Muslim joins for the first time. Yes.
I'll be coming home.
It would be nice to see you. One of the manifesto spokespersons for the National Democratic Congress, and of course, yes.
Tough interview.
And it's always fantastic to have Solomon Owusu on the show, member of the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change, and Kwame Usudan. So join us.
Please.
Of the Forum for Accountable Governance. A big thank you to my crew today, my producer Director Gerard, producers led by Tijani Badamasi, of course, Irabna Frimpong, and the CEO of Abin Dadi, Latifa Adam, and of course, sound is by TT. A big thank you to all of you. We are back same time next week with another edition of the show. Don't forget this show, a repeat of this show will be broadcast on Monday right after Good Morning Africa. So do make a day. If you missed it and you just joined and you want to watch a repeat, Monday right after Good Morning Africa. Oh, actually, being correct, it's after the midday news. So that will be after the midday news. So after the midday news on Pan African Television, you can make a date and watch a repeat of the show. I'm Sena Nombo.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people.